You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Here it comes. Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes. How about that? A walk-off, two-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry. And the magical 2024 season is not done by any means.
Yankees lose! Yankees lose! What a shame. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. It is a Freaky Friday, fabulous edition here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking me out across the video platform. Huge show today. Let's get it going. Thanks, everybody, for checking me out on Twitter, X, following me at pshep326, on Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, powerful Jedis they are. They power us, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and of course, you can always text or call the show at 727-858-6650. What a night in Major League Baseball. Great sports tonight. I shouldn't say great sports tonight between Virginia Tech's romp over BC, the New Orleans Saints, who are barely fielding a mass unit of a football team, getting annihilated at home again, this time by the Denver Broncos. The Dodgers having their way with the Mets. But the game of the night by far was one of the cuts you just heard with with Cleveland beating the Yankees 7-5 in dramatic fashion. What a fabulous baseball game that was last night. Really, probably the game of the year. We'll get to all that. We've got lots of NFL news to tell you about. We're going to preview a whole bunch of games today as well. Obviously, recap last night's Denver game, although it really isn't a lot to recap. It was all Broncos from the get-go. But a couple of highlights for you from Amazon. Al Michaels trying not to fall asleep in the third and fourth quarter. It was that bad. And I'm going to have my pigskin picks today, 30. We'll recap a couple of weeks ago. Remember, I didn't have them last week. So recap from a couple of weeks ago. I started off 1-0 last night and had the Broncos because I knew the Saints were really banged up. But I pick against the spread for every single NFL game. I'll give a recap of what I've done so far in this season. College football, I'll have my top 5 picks, best bet, and also my best bet and underdog of the week, which has to win outright. I'll update you on all those numbers coming up as well. Comedian Greg Murphy will join us. He is actually home in New England for a few days before he heads back out to sea on this cruise ship where he does all this comedic stuff. But Greg Murphy's going to join us at 9:05. And then the one and only Gabe Morenzi, Sports Rage, will have all his picks coming up at the bottom of the hour at 9:30. And always entertaining stuff. So getting back on track after missing last week due to Hurricane Milton. And with that, no, this is, and if anybody, this is not, I would never, ever, ever, ever wear a Miami Dolphin shirt. This is a University of Miami shirt. Just please, we can't have any of that. That'll come later. Meanwhile, let's say good morning to the one and only executive producer, host extraordinaire, Angel Martinez from chilly Tampa Bay. 62 degrees here in Fort Myers. I reckon, Angel, it's about them. There's chilly temperatures up your way yonder as well.
It sure is. It's about 56 degrees. I don't like it too much. I'm going to say it myself. I am not a fan of this chilly weather. No, I'm not. I like chilly, but I'm not for the chilly weather. Hell no.
Another debate people have, do beans go in chili or not? I say to each his own.
Exactly. Because you have what? The meat is...
People get outraged. They get outraged by it. I don't... Okay. So don't call it chili. Call it whatever you want.
Okay, here's a question for you. Since we just had Chef Derek Fox on earlier this week. So do you do for... If and when you make chili, do you do your own kind of special like pasta sauce for your chili, or how do you end up doing it?
Well, when we made chili, my friends make chili. It's pretty much made from scratch. But if you're talking about when I'm making pasta sauce or whatever, which I do a lot, I use Hunt's, a can of Hunt's, and or I don't sit there and make my own sauce from tomatoes from scratch, but it doesn't work that way. So I use, I'm gonna use a chili sauce can be a little bit. You got to use regular tomato sauce. So I always use Hunt's. That's my. It always has been my go-to. Hunt's, that is not the one without salt, but it's already salted. But then you can add your own spices and everything else. But that's what I use. And then the rest of it, to experiment, to each his own. Whatever you like in it is fine. I don't get offended. People get offended because they call it chili if it has beans in it.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know. Call it something else. I don't know, some sort of soup, whatever it is. People that get really, really offended. See, I get offended when people say bruschetta, which is absolutely goes through me like nails on a chalkboard. It's bruschetta. You never ever pronounce the sh like that ever. It's bruschetta, and and Gordon does it too. I mean, a lot of the Europeans do it that way. Of course, they say oregano instead of oregano, basil instead of basil, shallots instead of shallots, and I get all that. I get all that. But in this country, when people say bruschetta instead of bruschetta, nails on a chalkboard for me. I'm sure you have stuff in your native Puerto Rican dishes too, Angel, that people get it wrong all the time. Also, when people say gyro instead of gyro, that goes through me too. It's not a gyro. It's something like you get like on an Etch-a-Sketch or something like spirograph. No, it's not a gyro. It's a gyro, not gyro.
Exactly. Yeah, it is funny when people do say it. I'm like, what? What's so wrong about it? I'm like, dude, it's like in Philly when you stand in line down in South Philly at 9th and Wharton for a great cheesesteak. It's got to be quick because it's with, without, 1 and 2, and then whatever else you want. If you say like, nope, back to the line you go.
No, it's like soup Nazi. You got to know what you want and move to the left. Real simple. Yeah, with or without. I would just, because I love cheesesteak, I would just put on, and I would just say, with and move to the side. Bob says, what a great game by Cleveland. Incredible clutch performances. Yeah, we're going to lead with baseball, and particularly that game. Some great calls, some great drama in that game. Wonderful to see the Yankees lose. Sorry. Wonderful to see the Yankees lose. Wonderful to see the Mets lose. Sorry to our friend Jay Flannelly, who's probably ready to, I think his Wolverines are in trouble tomorrow, too, at Illinois. Shh. Well, you get to talk to him today at 11 o'clock, so we'll see. I think the Illini are going to beat the Wolverines. But I will have my unbelievable picks coming up. I've done a lot of research. Like I said, when I get done with the show on Thursdays, I take a little nap, and then I'm right back at it. And it takes me about an hour and 45 minutes or so to prep for doing all the picks. I go through everything possible and go through all the information, injury reports as well, and try to come up with the 5 best college games of the day, and then the pick against all the spread in the NFL. Anybody can pick winners, and I come up with the underdog of the week, which has to win outright or I lose,
right?
And then the best bet of the week. And I'll tell you what, there's Friday night action tonight, and one of those games will be in play, and one of my picks, I can tell you that. So we'll get ready for that. Did you see? Well, you were busy last night too, right? You were covering USF soccer, so you didn't probably get to see a lot of the baseball.
No, I ended up missing out on it because of the soccer match last night. So I did not get to see much of any baseball whatsoever. But
Bulls won. The Bullets, what do they call it? The Lady Bulls won again. You can't have a Lady Bull. There's no such thing as a Lady Bull.
No. Plus, it was senior night, which made it even better. So you had 3 seniors getting ready to graduate, and so it was nice for them to have a clean sheet, as said in soccer, 1-0. But no, the goalie, I would say Galak, the goalie that they have, should. I mean, other than always getting, seems like high honors every week, but someone should be putting her in the MVP candidate.
Awesome. That's great. Well, I'm sure you'll have more on your show about that. No question about it. You have your show coming up after this one today at 10 o'clock or thereabouts and then you have Jay Flannelly on with you at 11 o'clock. You will try to tell the whole world why Michigan will beat Illinois.
Exactly. And then the party line.
If he's halfway out on a ledge about the Mets, you got pounded again last night by the Dodgers. Man, when LA gets it going, man, they get it going.
Yeah.
Well, that was a boring game. But last night, Angel, the Cleveland Guardians, and what a game this was. We're going to do all the highlights here because there are so many. Dramatic stuff. Let us go in order here. I'm going to try to do this correctly and go in order this time. Jose Trevino, RBI single, top of the second, gets it going thanks to TBS.
Well, Jose Trevino gets his first start, and once you know, second and third right here.
Yeah, he is in a big spot. He has not started a game since the last day of the regular season. Second and third, one out. Number 9 hitter. Trevino shoots one to right field, a base hit. In to score is Volpe. And how about Jose Trevino? That was big news that he was in the starting lineup today for the Yankees. And he delivers in his first at-bat since the last day of the regular season.
All right, later on in the game, in the bottom of the third inning, the Guardians take the lead.
In one, hitters count. Manzardo drives one way back. Goodbye. Kyle Manzardo, his first career postseason.
Thanks again to TBS with the call. That made it 2-1 Cleveland, but. This game got better and better as it went along. Lots of ups and downs. It is 3-1 Cleveland heading into the bottom of the top of the eighth inning. Here's John Sterling with 2 unbelievable calls as the Yankees tie it and then take the lead.
1-2, swung on and hit in the air to center field and deep. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Stanton and Judge have hit home runs, a back-to-back and a belly-to-belly. And the Yankees take the lead. Giancarlo non si può stopparlo. He homers and he and Judge hit him back-to-back. And the Yankees now take a 4-3 lead.
I knew I'd screw it up. By the way, that was Susan Waldman mumbling in the background there as well. Now, I meant to play this first, the game that ties Aaron Judge. Dramatic game-tying home run.
And the 1-2. Swung on and drilled to right field. That ball is going to be gone. It was a line drive, and it went over the right field fence. It's a Judgian blast. The Yankee dugout goes nuts. They're all on the field. A 2-run home run to tie the game the opposite way. The Judgian blast. And all rise. Here comes the Judge.
Oh, good God almighty. The Yankees were not done, though, in the top of the ninth.
Another 3-2. Into center field, driving Thomas back. This will be plenty deep to score the run. Volpe is in. Verdugo tags as well. And Gleyber Torres adds an insurance run. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Torres. Makes it 5-3 Yankees.
Yeah, you see all the big home runs right here. This is just as important in this moment of the game with who you have coming out. Gleyber Torres delivers another beautiful AB.
Oh my goodness! It really felt like the Yankees were going. That was it. It was that was it. That the Cleveland Guardians had no chance. I believe the Yankees were 196-2, Angel, going into the bottom of the ninth with a 2-run lead in their playoff history or in their history, and both of the previous losses were to the then Cleveland Indians. But in the bottom of the ninth, with a man on, they call him Big Christmas, baby. Goes my dramatic effect. They call him Big Christmas, baby.
Oh my goodness! Big Christmas has tied it! The ultimate present under the tree! Oh my goodness! John Kinsey Noel, the biggest swing of his life.
Wow, Big Christmas, as they call him. Hey, Angel, this is for you.
Plató, batazo! ¡Feliz Navidad!
Feliz Navidad.
¡Feliz Navidad! Acaba de empatar el encuentro la Navidad en octubre. ¡Qué bárbaro, qué monstruo! Se puso la Navidad y no ha nevado todavía. Lo que cayó fue la explosión que le dije a ustedes si se pasaba Nate Thomas, algo iba a pasar. La puso chiquitita. John Kelsey Noel gozándose empate este partido. Le dije a ustedes que esto no se ha acabado. Todavía una gran oportunidad. ¿Qué clase de palo, mi gente?
Okay, after Feliz Navidad, what happened there?
He said the snow didn't fall, but the explosion of the impact of the home run sends him into Christmas and into late October before Christmas even starts. So they were pretty much going off on the home run itself and explaining how the home run, how it happened, which is, it's always great. You know, it's different when it's in Spanish because then everybody gets all pumped up and excited. But I'd rather hear that than that stupid back to back, belly to belly. I can't stand that jackass. Oh, I can't stand him.
He's actually a nice man. I mean, that's his shtick. He's been doing it forever.
I know.
He was walking in the background going, oh. Great commentary. Great stuff. But that just tied the game at 5. We go to extra innings, and then Fry. It's a Ferris Bueller reference.
Carries the winning run in game 3. Fry, deep drive, left field. Fry's watching. It is a walk-off home run. David Fry lights up the Cleveland night.
Love the little Mario Brothers thing. Right? Dun-dun, dun-dun. Now, here's Tom Hamilton's call, the great Tom Hamilton, legendary Cleveland Guardians call. Here's his call, local radio here of the same David Fry game winner.
Here it comes. Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes. How about that? A walk-off, 2-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry. And the magical 2024 season is not done by any means. Cleveland with a 7.
Absolutely unbelievable. David Fry after the game on MLB Network on that game winner.
David, it only took you 4 pitches to give your team the win in extras. How good did that feel coming off the bat?
So good. I mean, not many times do I know it's going to leave here, but I had a good feeling that one was going, and yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah, when Big Christmas broke it open, what was the conversation in the dugout moving forward?
I mean, yeah, it kind of, obviously after they took the lead, it was tough, but we still felt like we had a good chance. It's kind of who we've been all year. We come back, and I mean, if there was a guy who can hit a big homer, it's Sean Kinsey, and golly, he did.
Stephen Vogt seemed to pull all the right levers in this one. What sort of confidence does your first-year skipper give you guys?
He always pulls the right levers. He's so good. I mean, he just communicates so well, and he's just so smart, and yeah, we have all the faith in the world in him.
How nice is it to be back home with all these fans?
Awesome. Glad we can get him a win tonight.
Congratulations, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to MLB Network there. Meanwhile, big Christmas after the game on ESPN.
Igual. Solamente the same like any game, you know. You got to focus on executing the little things and see what happens. And they're good hitters, they're experienced hitters, but we don't have to quit. It's 27 outs, so the plan was to look anything in. I know they're not going to give me anything like that and try to pitch me away, but I was looking for my pitch, anything in.
There you have. What a game. What an absolute, what an unbelievable game. There were 2 strikes, though, when Big Christmas hit that home run. 2 strikes again, and absolutely unbelievable. Can you read gas pump, guys, so I don't have to reach for my glasses?
Sure, yep. He says, I'll tell you, if you put a Spanish announcer in front of any kind of sport, they can make it exciting, whether it's exciting or not, LOL. Which is true, because here would be an example, which is not really a sport, though. It's like you could take it, you could be watching anything in Spanish, and then the guy turns around like the English version, and I'll translate over in Spanish. So, let's say George gets up this morning, walks into the kitchen, grabs himself a plate, puts the butter on the bread, toast it, and it's gone, right? So you add the Spanish announcer in there. Aquí viene Jorge.
In the basket.
Jorge en la cocina. Jorge, coge el plato. No, no, no. Ahí va Jorge con el pan y la mantequilla en tostada. Ahí está Jorge. Buen día, Jorge. You can hype up bread.
I'm going to play it one more time. Big Christmas's game tying home run, the TBS Spanish.
Plató, batazo. ¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Con acaba de empatar el encuentro la Navidad en octubre! ¡Qué bárbaro, qué monstruo! Se puso la Navidad y no ha nevado todavía. Lo que cayó fue la explosión que le dije a ustedes si se envasaba Nate Thomas, algo iba a pasar. La puso chiquitita. John Kelsey Noel gozando empate este partido. Le dije a ustedes que esto no se ha acabado. Todavía una gran oportunidad. ¡Qué clase de palo, mi gente!
Gracias, amigo. That was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And Angel gave you the whole interpretation. You said it was like talking about the snowstorm. That was the whole. I forget what you said, but
yeah,
very entertaining.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a snowstorm, basically Christmas in October with the explosion that he had off the bat, which is it's a really good reference the way they end up putting it together. So it makes sense. But in Spanish, you have to do things backwards. You say what you're going to say, what you're thinking backwards first, and then bring out the rest of the sentence. But no, that was good commentary by the guys here.
All right, Yankees win 7-5. There's now 2-1 series lead for the Yankees. Meanwhile, heading to the NLCS, the Dodgers were up 2-1 on the New York Mets, and they got it going early in the first inning. Guess who?
There's a shot, right center field, and Ohtani lights the fire. A leadoff home run. Dodgers 1, Mets nothing in Game 4. Well, unfortunately, did not keep the ball in the yard. He had not given up a home run in 8 last starts. And didn't go to that curveball, chose to go with the fastball, and Ohtani was ready.
All right, thanks to Fox with the call. Here's the call on 570 AM LA. I believe my buddy Tim Neverett.
The 1-0 pitch. Ohtani swings, and it's a missile to right field. Marte will turn, and watch this one fly. Shohei Ohtani, a leadoff home run, a laser beam to right field, and it's 1-0 Dodgers right off the hop in Game 4.
Absolutely amazing. Well, so much had been made about the fact that Ohtani had not been hitting with bases empty. Well, you can cancel that one off. He's now 1 for his last 23 in that spot.
He says 1 for his last 23 in that spot as I put on my Thurston Howell radio voice. Meanwhile, later on in the game, the Dodgers retook the lead.
The 2-0. Curve lofted to left center field. It is down, and Tommy Edman comes through again. A go-ahead double. Dodgers take the lead 2-1. And one of the unsung heroes strikes again.
Well, another walk ends up getting another run for the Dodgers. A 2-out hit, and those are backbreakers in the postseason. Just finds the middle of the 2 outfielders.
Tommy Edman now 6 hits in this series to lead the club.
It was 2-1 Dodgers then, but why can't we get players like this? Kiki Hernandez added.
Identity of this offense. Curve, grounded left side, and Kiki Hernandez has delivered for the Dodgers once again. It's an RBI single to make it 3-1. And it's those guys, Edman and Hernandez, knocking in 2 here in the third.
2 big 2-out hits. And Lindor keeps this from 2 runs scoring. The Dodgers are doing a good job. Behind in the count, still sitting on off speed. And the last 2 off speeds behind in the count, they have recorded hits.
Thanks to Fox once again. That made it 3-1 Dodgers in the top of the third. Meanwhile, again, why can't we get players like this in the top of the fourth?
That's with a bullet down the left field line. That's going to scoop by Nimmo. Taylor's in to score. Ohtani's headed for home. Lindor won't even try a throw. Two-run double, Mookie Betts. Magic loves it. Dodgers have taken a 5-2 lead.
Well, Nimmo doing his best to try to cut this ball off, but you just know he just can't. And once it gets by him, that's the speed.
Mookie Betts, his second hit of the ball game, doubling his total for this series.
But Mookie was not done. We head to the top of the sixth.
You love that though. The pressure cooker of the postseason. Mookie Betts sends a high fly ball to deep left field. Nimmo's going back at the wall. It's gone. Mookie Betts goes deep. The Dodgers have broken it open. And a day after the unsung heroes chip in, it's the superstars at the top of the order. Ohtani and Betts both going deep, reaching in 7 of their 8 times up. Single, double, and now home run for Mookie Betts, his third one of October.
When I say why can't we, of course, I'm referring to what I don't usually of my beloved Red Sox. Just unbelievable. After the game, speaking of the Red Sox, Mookie Betts says he learned a lot from his early postseason days in Boston.
How would you relate this to like one of your rookie years, like with Pedroia and Ortiz and all those guys that guys had to face, and you're a part of it? You know, being part of the surrounding cast.
That was such a long time ago. Really, I think being with those guys, they really taught me that it's going to take all of them. You know, it wasn't just Big Papi, it wasn't just Petey, it was like the Daniel Navas and the you know, obviously Mike Napoli. You know, the names like that, Shane Victorinos. Those are the guys that really Squires has kept. Like I think those are the reasons. Those guys are the reasons why you win games. I mean, obviously Big Papi and Petey, they're going to do their thing, but it's going to take all 9 guys, and they really show me how and why it does.
All right, there's Mookie Betts. So once again, the Dodgers have a commanding 3-1 lead in the NLCS over the Mets. They will play this afternoon at 5:08 p.m. on FS1. Flaherty versus Peterson, your pitching matchup there. In the ALCS, they also will play this evening at 8:08 on TBS, and it'll be Gill and Williams, your pitching matchup in that one, with the Yankees now leading the series 2-1. So there you have it. All right, quick break here, Angel. And when we come back, we will tell you what happened in that debacle at the Superdome last night between the Saints and the Denver Broncos. It was all Denver as the mass unit Saints could not compete. They fumbled, stumbled, and bumbled their way to a humiliating loss at home. This on the heels of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the week before, blasting them in the end, outscoring them 27-0, and that would end up being a rout as well. So the Saints are in a little bit of trouble, as they say. But we'll come back and recap the Denver-New Orleans game, plus start to preview everybody else coming up in the NFL this week and a whole lot more. My Pigskin Picks coming up at 8:30. Comedian Greg Murphy will come your way at 9:05 p.m. And then at 9:30, Gabe Morenzi, Sports Rage, will have his picks as well. Yes, Angel?
If he's coming on at 9:05 p.m., you do realize all of a sudden...
Sorry about that. 9:05 a.m. 9:05 a.m. All right, it's all part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Football Freaky Friday here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name's Derek Stroop. Nice to meet y'all. I'm originally from Alabama. I moved to Denver about 9 years ago to experience real time travel. We'll talk about that a little bit. Let me tell you, I like to just introduce myself up top, get to know each other a little bit, let you know how I got into comedy, okay? I got in the way that you're supposed to, all right? The hard way. 12 years ago, I got 2 DUIs, all right? Now, y'all listen to me. If you want funny comedians, you got to have some that's seen a checkpoint. And listen, I've turned it all around since then. I don't drink anymore. My life's changed. All the things that y'all want to hear have happened, okay? And I usually don't talk about it because I'm ashamed of it. But now that there's a little space between me and these DUIs, I'd like to circle back and say some shit. I'd like to defend myself because I got my DUIs back when we were still earning them, okay? No, there was no Uber or Lyft, all right? If you're under the age of 28, you don't know what it's like to be stranded. You've never been at a house party and watched your DD black out. You've never seen that. You don't know how scary that is. Tyler promised us he was going to be sober. Tyler lied. Stuck at a stranger's house, you don't know how you're going to get home. You've never earned it. Sleeping in a cold sunroom, using a rug as a blanket, it's terrifying. Y'all have been there. Laying in the floor, you're like, will sunlight ever come? I don't know. All y'all, if you're under the age of 28, you don't know what you get to go home when you want. Kings and queens of the Irish goodbye, you've never been stuck in a kitchen going through a stranger's pantry before. Because you couldn't leave because you're stuck. We didn't drive drunk because we wanted to. Look at me. We drove drunk because we wanted to see our families again. I wanted to see my mom, you know? I had too much vodka. That doesn't mean I don't get to see her. Some of y'all don't know what that's like. You've never earned it, you know? And I'm not saying, listen, and things are better now. You've got Uber and Lyft. It's a better, you get intoxicated, you get a ride home. I mean, what a life I couldn't imagine. You know, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I learned a lot about bikes in hindsight, but I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I'll give you a tune-up in a heartbeat, you know? But I mean, I brought this up to my dad. I brought it up to Bill. And if you listen, I was raised by Bill. If you know one Bill, you know every damn one of them. Y'all know Bills. They love Lowe's. They can't believe not everybody tucks in their shirt. And I asked him, because he used to tie one on back in the day. Back in the 70s, Bill used to have a good time. I said, Bill, could you imagine being at a party and then you drinking and knowing for sure some guy named Marcus was going to pull up in a Nissan Sentra with 2 bottles of water playing your favorite radio station? I was like, Bill, how drunk would y'all have gotten, man? And he was like, son, we would have shit our pants. He's like, I could not imagine. Because a lot of y'all, you don't know what it's like. There was some teamwork involved. You've never been in a driveway with 4 of your best friends trying to get some eye contact. How are we getting home? If we don't get a Mexican pizza, we'll all die tonight. And then you ask your buddy Ryan, can you drive? You look pretty good. Ryan surprises you. He's like, I cannot drive us tonight. And you're like, damn, we lost Ryan. I mean, and we do dumb stuff. We thought if we could just drink a Gatorade and eat this pack of Gushers, I think I could get us to where we need to go. I just need a snack. You see how wild this is? And you'd see me, and y'all judged me. I was fighting for my damn life out there.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Feliz Navidad! Acaba de empatar el encuentro en la Navidad en octubre. ¡Qué bárbaro, qué monstruo! Se puso la Navidad y no ha nevado todavía. Lo que cayó fue la explosión que le dije a ustedes si se pasaba Nate Thomas, algo iba a pasar. La puso chiquitita. John Kelsey Noel gozando se empate este partido. Le dije a ustedes que esto no se ha acabado. Todavía hay una gran oportunidad. ¡Qué clase de palo, mi gente!
That's how you talk up a song, baby. Doesn't get better than that. Congratulations to me. How about that? Top that. See any morning show do that?
Exactly.
Oh, my God. Another get the Colin Spanish last night. A big Christmas' game-tying home run, and then Cleveland from Fry hits a two-run shot in extra innings, and the Indians go on to the Guardians go on to win over the Yankees anyway. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks, everybody, for following us across the video platform. I do want to say one thing, Angel, before I forget. Oops,
sure.
Hang on here. Hang on. Because I do want to talk about real quick before we get back into what happened last night at the Superdome. Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Now, you might remember last month we told you about the great event he had over there, the sign and greet with Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie. The line was around the building. It was great. Everybody had a wonderful time. Well, now coming up, another great event coming up on Saturday, November 30th from 10 a.m. to noon. The legend returns to Sports World. Yes, the Jackie Robinson of the NHL, Willie O'Ree, who I've had the pleasure of meeting several times. Just the best. He was the first black player in the NHL, and he was with the Boston Bruins. He'll be signing autographs for the public, $25 each. There'll be photos. There'll be pucks, cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call over there at 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there again coming up on Saturday, November 30th from 10 a.m. to noon. Legendary Jackie Robinson of the NHL, Willie O'Ree, will be on hand. So that is going to be really, really cool stuff. What a gentleman he is.
It'd be a great time.
I believe that the Red Sox, that the Boston Bruins, and the Boston Celtics for that, but the Boston Bruins had a black player on their team before the Red Sox. A lot of people don't know that, but it's true. And he is an absolute gentleman, an ambassador to the game, and you will find a classier individual at all than him. So good stuff. Great get by Phil Castanetti to get Willie O'Ree over there. That'll be another huge signing day over there. So get there early. That's all I could say. All right. What else, Angel? We're going to say? I'm sorry.
That would be fun if if you can get a minute with them, just like a quick 2-minute conversation while you're getting your autographs, your hockey puck sign. That'd be a great storyteller.
Absolutely. He's got some unbelievable stories, too, his whole journey to the National Hockey League. Also want to say, Angel, for the best articles in audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles in audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them at info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all, and they're the ones that provided all these great play-by-play highlights, including the Spanish play-by-play call. I mean, those guys get it over there. They know exactly the stuff, and I use just about every single one of their cuts, most of them that I can get. If we get to it all, every single day, they do a great job. All right, let's get to it. Tell you what happened last night, or what didn't happen for the New Orleans Saints. That game was over before it even started. It really was. It was a terrible football game last night, culminating in the Denver's 33-10 romp. But let's see if we can get. Let's see early on in the game. Here's Javonte Williams making it 13-0 Denver.
Halfway through the second quarter. Wide open. Yeah, Javonte Williams for the touchdown. Goes in
untouched. Later on, also in the third quarter, Javonte Williams strikes again, this time running.
75 rushing yards for Knicks tonight. Gives it to Williams, and he burrows his way in for the touchdown. So the Denver Broncos, 69 yards, 5 plays, 4 of them on the ground.
Here's an interesting call. Well, let me just tell you this. The play of the game was this one. This made it 33-3. This goes into the fourth quarter.
These linebackers, outside linebackers.
2nd and 10, look out. And is that going to be a fumble, which is taken by Barton in the air? There's no whistle yet. And Barton, what a night this guy's having. Jaquan McMillan.
Yeah, Barton, 52-yard fumble recovery for supposed to be made it 33-3 Denver there. Meanwhile, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit on the call on Amazon, a little confused last night. Check this out.
A segment or two in the booth in the third quarter. Meanwhile, under pressure, and that's the way this half is going to end in all likelihood, but they're going to take another timeout, I guess. All right.
Timeout.
For what practical purpose? You tell me.
Final of the half. Again,
I don't know. Even you're stumped.
Yeah.
And to stump you is hard.
You're excited for what's going on behind this wall right here at halftime. You hungry?
It depends. I got to see what the
see what's on the menu.
What the spread is tonight. Are we going Cajun or Creole?
Oh, it's a great town for food.
Sure. Punt, fumble, punt, field goal.
Take the ball. Take it.
For the Saints. Well, you take a timeout.
Stupid.
It's the only timeout I've ever seen, and a kneel down follows.
It was stupid.
Yeah, whatever. I know. Well, 16-3 is our halftime score.
Al reminds me of Bob Uecker in Major League when he's calling the Indians game. You know, he's like, who the hell cares? No one's listening anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It was so dumb. I couldn't believe it ended up doing something like that.
I don't get it. I mean, I've never seen that. I agree with that. I've never seen a timeout than a kneel down.
Right.
Very before the half. Crazy, but they get routed. After the game, Sean Payton on focusing on the run game and defense.
Yeah, look, with the injuries they had at receiver, there's certain people that you have to really focus on. Kamara being one. Juwan Johnson, obviously the quarterback's got a little bit of moxie. He was someone we liked a lot coming out and spent a lot of time on him. And we knew it would be a boot naked, you know. But I thought we handled the run, and then you know, we were able to get enough pressure. We got off the field a lot on third down. I'll bet I haven't seen the numbers yet, but I'll bet they were very good. 4-16, and I'll bet two of them probably came in the last 6 minutes. So they were really good. They were really good.
All right. Meanwhile, Spencer Rattler, who's been forced into starting duty because Derek Carr is hurt, says he's got to play better.
Spencer, how would you say you would grade your own performance? How did you feel like you did overall with the second start?
Got to be better. You know, plain and simple, got to be better. You know, felt like we had some good things going at certain times, but just couldn't catch a rhythm. You know, starts with myself, got to be better, and then the group will follow. You know, so I got to set that standard and be better.
Richard Sherman in the postgame on Amazon talked about the Saints quitting. Dennis Allen, head coach of the Saints, disagrees.
Richard Sherman had some pretty harsh words for the team on the broadcast at halftime. He said it doesn't look like they want to tackle. It doesn't look like they're putting in any effort. You said last week you still believe in the effort of this team. Do you believe that after watching the last 6 quarters?
Yeah. I don't agree with him.
So you think that the team was, I mean, there was no quit at any point?
No.
He also went on to say that the defense was playing like a team that, quote, wants its head coach fired. Is it something that you are concerned about at this time?
No.
Well, again, when I read you these numbers, I mean, the Saints missing top receivers. Chris Olave had a concussion. Rashid Shaheed had a knee injury. The latter going on IR earlier in the day. 2 starting linemen. Center Eric McCoy had a groin. Guard Cesar Ruiz with a knee injury. They were out. And versatile tight end Taysom Hill, ribs, missed his 3rd straight game. Now, I don't know a coach in the world that can overcome all of those injuries, especially a couple that happened right before the game. So that's a tough call. That's a tough call to blame Dennis Allen for all of that and having to play Spencer Rattler as opposed to Derek Carr. He was absolutely overwhelmed by the Denver defense. Looked like the old Orange Crush back in the day. Ranked 4th in the NFL in yards allowed. He was 25 and 35 for 172 yards. He rushed for 34 yards, but he lost 2 fumbles. Anyway, enough of that. Saints get clobbered at home, 33-10 by the Denver Broncos. But you know, with all those injuries, no, there's not a coach in the world that can overcome that. We're talking about like 9 guys out last night, a bunch of starters, including your best wide receivers. So I hope you did your homework because Denver was favored. It was -3, jumped all over it. I'll tell you, Angel, I am on a roll like you would not believe. In baseball, I just keep taking the overs in all of these games. The totals are off for the most part. They're all around 7 or 8, and they all go. Every game has gone over just about except for one. Good stuff. College football on fire again. BC got clobbered last night. They actually made a game of it. They were down 28-0, made it 28-21 before succumbing again to Virginia Tech 42-21. But there's a big college football slate just tonight. There's a big slate, couple of big games, and then Saturday is just off the chart. We're going to get into all of that as well. As I said, my pigskin picks are coming up at 8:30. Gabe Morency will have his at 9:30. Sports Rage, and in between, comedian Greg Murphy will join us at 9:05 a.m. All right, let's keep it going with the Patriots at Jacksonville. This will take place in London and played this yesterday, but it's worth playing again. Bill Belichick and Doug Peterson being able to change the team's culture.
Can you change a culture in the middle of a season? Doug Peterson, let's change the culture here. Well, aren't you the culture?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he meant by that. Maybe that's a change in preparation or practice, or I'm not really sure. I'd like to know, what he has in mind there. It's not his first year, and this is kind of what they've established. So I'm not really sure what that means, but clearly things aren't going very well in Jacksonville with the Jaguars, and they need to do something to be competitive here and to get back in this division.
Bill Belichick is not one to mince words with this kind of stuff. When he says, I'm not sure what he meant there, because I'm going to play a cut in a second about how he semi-defended Mike McCarthy yesterday, right, giving him more the benefit of the doubt. See where I'm going with that, Angel? So when he says stuff like, I'm not sure what Doug Peterson means there, that says a lot. Meanwhile, Drake May, Patriots quarterback, on where he finds his confidence.
Can you change a culture in the middle of a season?
Oops, not that. My bad.
My confidence comes from, I think, just moving the football, and just finding completions. I think any quarterback, you kind of get more confident. Getting first downs, finding completions, making a good throw or making, the right throw. That's the biggest thing, making the right throw. And at the same time, you get confidence from others. And it's just like everybody wants to get pumped up. And I try to remind myself on the sideline, kind of be the voice to pump some guys up. And other than that, just try to kind of build my role as a leadership role each and every week as I try to earn the guys' respect.
All right, quarterback Drake May. I think he's hopefully going to have a pretty good game coming up in London against Jacksonville on Sunday morning. Meanwhile, offensive coordinator for the Patriots, Alex Van Pelt, who I'm not a big fan of, on wide receiver Jalen Polk, who got to run better routes and catch the ball.
Coach, Jalen Polk, Rob was saying earlier this week that he kind of has to get over a mental hump. Do you see it that same way with Jalen? What's he have to do to get over that mental hump and start being competitive?
Yeah, I think success always gets you over that. He had a couple drops in the game, uncharacteristic of him. He's a rookie. They're all young guys right now. Just got to figure a way to overcome that and, get back to focusing on what he can do well, and that's a lot of things. So a lot of times you put a lot of pressure on these young guys when they come into play, especially right away as a rookie. And, he needs to understand that we're asking him to do that because he can't do it. And I think, as he has success moving forward, the drops I don't see that as an issue. But it's tough. It's hard for any rookie to come in, and we put a lot on him. We ask him to do a lot, highlight him a lot as the number one in our progressions. So there's a lot on his plate right now. So finding ways to spread that responsibility around to other guys, maybe lighten the load on him a little bit, but he's going to make plays for us as the year goes on. There's no question in my mind.
Coach, kind of adding to that, Jalen Polk mentioned that I think it was something about he doesn't feel like he's got limited, in what he can do. I know he's been playing a lot of X, and pre-draft he seemed more like a Z slot kind of guy. So I was wondering, from your perspective, why has he kind of been in that role, and is that something that you see for him long term?
We're trying to find the best guys we can put out there right now, the three guys that work best together, and that combination, just like the O-line, could change week to week positionally as well. Thought he'd give us the best chance at X to win in one-on-one matchups. Especially on the 3-by-1 sets when you're isolated on the weak side. But he can do great things in the slot as well, the Z as well. He's a very smart guy. He can play multiple positions. So for us as a staff, it's just trying to find the pieces and which ones work best together and how to use those guys with their skill sets in mind to be most successful.
All right, hopefully we'll see more of a connection. I think it can be a formidable one with Drake May and Poe. I really do. I hope they get it going this weekend against a team that is really reeling in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Meanwhile, I told you earlier about Bill Belichick, and he made those comments about Doug Peterson, which were for Bill not defending a coach, he doesn't. If he feels like they need defending, he'll defend them. He didn't know what the hell Doug Peterson was talking about, but not the same reaction regarding the Cowboys.
What do you see with what's going on with the Cowboys? They can't stop anybody. They have a lot of injuries, and it's just snowballed.
Yeah, it certainly looks like a tough situation down there in Dallas, and I'm sure that ownership is very frustrated about not only the start of this season, but the end of last season. And it's just tough. They had a great year last year, and then had a very poor performance against Green Bay in the playoffs. Got off to a good start this year in Cleveland, and then it's been pretty rocky since then. And meanwhile, Steven and Jerry Jones have shelled out a lot of money to some very high-profile players, and have tried to give the team as many resources as they can to win, and just haven't had good results. So, I've always talked about Mike McCarthy. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. Mike Zimmer is one of the best defensive coaches in the league. And Bones is a great special teams coach, but for some reason it's just not coming together. There's a long way to go. Something's going to have to start happening fast, and I don't know enough internally about what that is, but I would say it's really on everybody. It's got to play, coach, and just generally perform better. But I'm sure there's a lot of frustration down there about the way things have gone so far.
A big difference in Bill Belichick's comments on Doug Peterson and the status of Mike McCarthy, despite the mess going. And basically, what Bill is saying, this is on Jerry Jones. I mean, there's no question about it. Jerry Jones is a big part of this. Yes, the coaches deserve some blame. Certainly, the players deserve some blame for lack of execution. But the Jerry Jones stuff, I think finally, after it's taken quite a while, maybe, but it has really taken its toll on this team. I really believe that. Mike McCarthy talked about the noise regarding his job.
I think it's just part of the business, and that's when people ask me about really anything with the team, part of working here, it's part of the business.
That's what Dak had to say about you last night. Pretty strong words of support. And how do you react when your quarterback says that?
Well, I think it shows, how he feels, and I think it speaks to our relationship. But yeah, I mean, support is a nice thing. I wish you'd do more of it. So.
Meanwhile, yesterday on 96.7 The Ticket, Troy Aikman on the Cowboys receiver routes.
I think the routes are terrible. I think they run terrible routes, and I've thought that beyond this year. And I think CeeDee's got to improve in his route running. And as a quarterback, if you're not certain where guys are going to be consistently, it's hard to play the position. And so that's what I see. I see guys lazy coming off the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they run. Usually if they do, it's because they're anticipating they're going to get the football in that play. But if they're not, they don't, and it all ties together. And so I'm not impressed with that part of it. I just finished watching the Baltimore Ravens because I have them this week. You put on a film of theirs and watch their receivers run routes, and they come off the football. And so do San Francisco's and Green Bay's and others. But it's hard to play the position if you're not certain how guys are going to run routes or where they're going to be. And I'm not speaking for Dak. Dak may say, "Hey, I think everything's amazing," but as a former quarterback watching it, it's got to get a lot better.
Yeah, I think absolutely. There's no question about it. I think Troy Aikman is spot on right there. More intriguing games coming up. Jets at Pittsburgh. We'll get into that in a second. Angel, you just have to refresh, but I wanted to, before we get into a good discussion yesterday on First Take, or on Get Up, I should say, with Dan Orlovsky. But before that, right underneath the show, there's an anniversary. Last night, it was the anniversary of Jim Mora with one of the greatest rants of all time.
This is a good one.
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked, or the second half. We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. Second half, we sucked. Couldn't stop the run. Time they got down and got points, we got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk. Well, what happened was that
he could have said the same thing about last night's game, except that all those injuries happened. And that game with the Saints, when he's referring to, wasn't necessarily all those injuries. Meanwhile, Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, Dan Orlovsky and Adam Schefter talking about the amount of pressure that these two are under now.
Davante Adams plus Aaron Rodgers plus the Jets equals the most pressure both of them have ever been under.
Explain that.
Well, one, everybody's job in that organization is in their hands. And we know that what this roster is, what the expectations are. Two, this is, guys, come save our season.
Yeah.
That's quite literally what has happened. Please come save, because we've got a really good roster. We've got these draft picks that were the offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. We've got offensive line. You guys are both Hall of Famers. Come save us. And that's pressure, but pressure that neither of these guys together have been under. There's been expectations in Green Bay, no doubt, but there was a long runway when they were in Green Bay. Right now, this is the most pressure both these guys have ever been under, and it's please come save the season and make us a playoff football team.
Starting Sunday night against Pittsburgh, they said yesterday that he will play. Shefty, what do we need to know about this deal, how it got done, what the situation, what news and information do we need here?
Well, the Jets are paying the full contract, and when Davante Adams got to New York, he restructured his contract immediately to lower his cap number this year to $3.21 million. So he's saving the Jets some cap space this year. And when he suffered that hamstring injury in Las Vegas, it was considered at that time a 2 to 3 week injury. He missed 3 games. He came to New York, and now he feels ready to go. Full participant in practice yesterday, in the playbook all day, ready to go on Sunday night at Pittsburgh. He and Aaron Rodgers have an unspoken chemistry that all they need to do is be on the same field together to know what the other person is thinking. And they'll have that opportunity on Sunday night. And as I said, the NFL scriptwriters, they knew exactly what they were doing in this game, because let's put Davante Adams in prime time, and let's put him in a primetime game where the Pittsburgh Steelers look like they're going to be starting Russell Wilson. So we'll have Russell Wilson make his Steelers debut and Davante Adams makes his Jets debut. That works in prime time.
Yeah, and it's something that I completely disagree with, and I'm not alone. I don't know much. Originally, at the beginning of the week, I thought maybe Mike Tomlin's planting some sort of seed here and playing around with the Jets' minds, trying to make them prepare for a couple of quarterbacks. But it seems like more and more. And Justin Fields is going to be benched this week. I don't understand why. I really don't get it. Russell Wilson, though, yesterday on being fortunate to have another first game. This is from 93.7 The Fan, because he's been getting the majority of the snaps this week with the first team.
First game of the year for me, but, I've been fortunate to be in a lot of first games, so the confidence is there, obviously, and then obviously just being out with the guys. That's the fun part about this game, is just playing the game you love and doing the physical part of, getting in the end zone, hopefully, and scoring a bunch of touchdowns.
Meanwhile, Justin Fields believes that he didn't play well enough, but wants to do whatever it takes to get back out there.
I don't think I played, good enough, if I'm being real with you. If I'm being real with myself, I think if I did play well enough, I don't think there would be any sort of who should be playing, who should not. So at the end of the day, we got a few wins. Of course, I'm glad about that, but there's areas that I could be better at, and I'm just gonna continue to work on those and continue to get better.
I give Justin Fields a lot of credit. There are not a lot of quarterbacks in that situation that would handle it, at least publicly, the way he is. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's one of the few mistakes that Mike Tomlin has made as a coach. I disagree with this completely, and so does Alex Smith, who's on Sirius XM NFL Radio talking about it.
He turns an absolute disaster situation into a positive play. Right? Scrambles for a first down, gets out of a tackle and throws a ball downfield, runs for a touchdown. Like, there are a bunch of plus plays on that tape that jump out. And he just adds a different dimension. He is maybe one of the most gifted runners of the football at the quarterback position. When you talk about speed and strength. And again, he has 1 turnover this entire year. He's accounted for 10 touchdowns, 5 rushing, 5 passing. They've played 6 games. You multiply that by 3, they are a third of the way of the season, right? Like, he's an account for 30 touchdowns and have 3 turnovers. And you're telling me you're going to bench this guy, right? Like, this is how they don't play in an offensive system that allows the quarterback to week in and week out throw for 350 yards. It's just not the case. They have 1 receiver, George Pickens. right? That you make it easy to defend. They want to run the football. They're in multiple tight end sets most of the time. That's just the way they're built, right? And I think they want to be built that way. Again, it helps this defense. Oh, by the way, this defense is second in scoring, right? Because of this, because they run the football, because they control the clock. He hasn't turned the ball over. He hasn't put them in bad situations. So again, this is good team football. This is how they want to win football games. I just don't see this as being the time to make the change. But again, it's tough, right? Russ is healthy. He's practicing. You're going to get asked these questions. What are you doing? And so all this speculation begins. But there's nothing about Justin Fields' play to this point that makes me believe that this would be appropriate to make the change.
Yeah, I totally agree with Alex Smith there, and I hope this doesn't backfire. Number one, because I think Justin Fields deserves it, but number two, I don't want to give the Jets any sort of, I don't want to give them a chance to play mind games with Russell Wilson. And I think the Jets defense has a much better chance of getting to Russell Wilson than they do Justin Fields. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like it. Bad, Mike Tomlin. Bad. Don't know what you're doing. Shut up. All right, 1 hour down in the books and 2 more to go. When we get back, we'll preview more NFL stuff, more NFL games. Coming up later on, I will have my pigskin picks at the bottom of next hour at 8:30. At 9:05, Greg Murphy will join us. Comedian Greg Murphy will get his take on all things about life. And then Gabe Morency, Sports Rage at 9:30, will have his picks as well. And a big slate starting tonight also. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show as we continue on a Football Freaky Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Learning a lot being a California girl living in the South, because it's different here. I've learned when I go to a restaurant, if I order an iced tea, it automatically comes with 3 pounds of sugar in it. Y'all call that sweet tea. We call it diabetes. Learning a lot. Very simple things. Like when I'm in Los Angeles, if I go to a store and they're like, can I help you find anything? I'm like, I'm okay. And if I'm feeling really friendly that day, I'm like, I'm okay, thanks. That's it. That's where it ends. Then I got to Nashville. I'm at TJ Maxx one day. I can hear the ladies in the row next to me. Can I help you find anything? I'm all right, but thank you so much for asking. It's my pleasure. It's a beautiful day outside. Yes, it is, but they say it's going to rain about 3 o'clock. Make sure you get home before the traffic is going to be a mess. Bless your heart. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I have energy for the South. I don't know how to do it. Like, who stops talking first? Then I look around the corner and neither one of them even worked there. And then somebody told me this. They were like, hey, when people say bless your heart, they can mean it in a good way or a bad way. And I was like, what? Like, how you do a bad bless? And they're like, no, trust me, sometimes that's not what they mean. So now, anytime somebody tells me bless your heart, just to be safe, I reply with, bless your heart. Yeah, I wish you would bless my heart. Bless it again, go ahead. It's kind of like the old fighting words at church. I'ma pray for you. Oh, that's funny, because I'm already praying for you. Yeah, you been on my prayer wall. About to lay hands on you too, say I won't. Learning a lot. When we first got to Nashville, we were trying to figure out what part of the city we wanted to live in. Like, where do we fit in? Where do we vibe with? Finding out this county has good schools, this county doesn't. This county believes in COVID, this county doesn't. Where do we fit? And I would tell my friends, I'd be like, hey, I want to live somewhere where I could get a lot of land. And they're like, okay, you want to head south. I'm like, okay, cool. But I also don't.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Against an aggressive play caller, and I guess you'll see some of this weekend. How does that change things for a defensive coach trying to counter that?
That is Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores talking about a huge game coming up this weekend on Sunday against the Detroit Lions. An absolute gigantic of the game. Quarter of the way through the season is one of the biggest games of the year. Going to have a tremendous impact as the undefeated Vikings take on the one-loss Detroit Lions without Aiden Hutchinson. And here's that full quote from Brian Flores.
Play caller, and I guess you'll see some of this weekend. How does that change things for a defensive coach trying to counter that?
I mean, I try to fight fire with fire, you know. That's just me. I mean, some other people are different, but that'd be my answer to that one.
All right, Brian Flores. Dan Campbell, by the way, shared his message to the team after the horrific Aiden Hutchinson injury.
Just a little bit on what you said to the team and how you look at this process of maybe finding someone on the outside.
Yeah, well, look, that is the message. It's this is what we have, and this is who's here, and this is why we have the 53-man roster we did and the 16-man practice or vet squad that we have. And those are the guys that we go into battle with. And those are the guys that we get ready to play when we have an injury. Those are the guys that we develop if they're young players. And when they're ready to go, they go. Those are the guys that if they're playing better than a guy in front of them, we elevate them and sit a guy who's on the roster. So the team knows that. We know that. And you're right. I mean, we don't have time to worry about what has happened, and it sucks, and we hate it for Hutch. Everybody does, but I know the season is just getting started, and we got a lot of football left. And I do know this, if something like that happens, man, it's on all of us to carry the burden, man. Let's share the load, because that's what good teams do, man. You carry your portion of it, and you do your job, and we can spread this amongst the team with the 53-man roster, whoever goes the game in the three phases.
All right, again, that's Dan Campbell. Thanks, everybody. It's hour number 2 of the Pete Sheppard Show here across the Coastal Sports Network video platform. Thanks for following me at PShep326 on X and Twitter, Facebook, SR1029, thegame.com, ION TV, CSN Florida, Kick, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. You can always call or text the show at 727-858-6650. Let's continue early on in the week. The Lions signed defensive lineman Alan McNeil to an extension. Jared Goff talked about that.
You see him grow up and become a leader and become a guy that you can rely on every down and become a guy that's as important to our team as anybody. So it's extremely exciting for him and his family, but he deserves it, and I'm happy for him.
Also exciting, Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell on the return on the trade for Cam Akers.
And then we did acquire Cam Akers via trade. Cam has looked really good, whether it was the early reps in preseason with the Texans or, scoring against us when we played. Cam's been somebody that we didn't necessarily want to let go to somebody else last offseason, but good football players, that tends to happen. I want to credit Kwesi and his guys for getting a deal done to get Cam back here. Really is a depth move, has no bearing on kind of our current running back situation. Aaron is going to progress throughout the week and hopefully has a chance to go on Sunday. Ty Chandler and Myles Gaskin and Cam will work behind. But, I like where Ty's at. And obviously Aaron Jones has been a huge impact to our team. So getting to solidify that depth at that position with an urgency to run the football throughout the rest of the season, we wanted to make sure we could do that now when an opportunity became available.
And Cam said he's excited to be back with the Vikings.
I was excited, excited simply because I know the scheme, I know the people and how they operate here, and I know how they treat people, I know how they go about business, and it's a winning organization. I want to win. I want another Super Bowl, and I think it's a great opportunity to do that here.
All right, thanks to KFAN in Minnesota and also the Vikings webpage as well as the Lions webpage for all that stuff. Meanwhile, another big game coming up at 1 o'clock is Angel Martinez's Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. Daniel Jones says that Saquon Barkley has meant a lot to him. And Saquon Barkley, if you don't know, is returning for the first time.
What did he mean? What did he mean to you? Could you put that into words? What Saquon meant to you?
Yeah, a lot. He's a great teammate, great friend. Obviously, a really good player. Spent a lot of time together on and off the field, but someone who helped me out a ton as I was, getting into the league and through my first few years. So I have a ton of respect and appreciation for who he is as a person.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, Saquon Barkley returning to face the Giants on the road. First time since the big trade last year. Talked about returning to MetLife.
Do you have an expectation what the fans might do?
I mean, I guess I said I don't expect to get booed. And I was more of like it's the game is this rivalry is so much bigger than what happened in the offseason between me and the Giants or Hard Knocks. Like this has been going on for a very long time. So I've been on the other side, and I know how Giants fans feel. So I don't know what the environment's going to be like, but I'm excited. As a player, as a competitor, you kind of welcome those environments and those moments. So whoever it is, hopefully it gives me a little extra juice, and I can go out there and perform and help my team win.
All right. Meanwhile, Barkley again on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Talked about it.
Do you have an expectation what the fans might do?
I mean, I guess.
Oh, no, I just played that. My bad. Barkley talks about playing the Giants for the first time. This is it.
Do you have a feeling of prove it to the Giants?
No. Yeah. I do know my mindset on that. I don't have to prove anything to them. I'm thankful for the opportunity for this organization, from Jeffrey to Howard to everybody. Getting me here. So that's the people I got to prove it to, and my teammates. At the end of the day, the most important thing is winning. Whether I go and have 300 yards or if I have 10 yards, as long as we win, I don't really I don't have that big of a pride or ego that if I go out there and ball, it's like I'm looking at, those guys are real, like, look what you guys let go. It's no hate over there, but at the same time, I do know it's a big game, it's an important game. It's a division rival, and I'm going to go in there locked in and try to do the best I can to win the game.
Well, I got to tell you, I will be stunned if the Eagles don't win this game, despite Nick Sirianni. I just think this is how I felt the first game of the season as well. I think Saquon Barkley's going to score at least 2 touchdowns in this game. Last time I predicted that, I was wrong. He had 3. I think they're going to feed him the ball and do everything possible to win this game. I am just not a believer in the Giants. And they're one Saquon Barkley catch away, actually, for being 4-1. So think about that. Despite all of Nick Sirianni's Bozo the Clown type of antics and speeches and all of that stuff. I just think this is going to be all about Saquon Barkley. I think he's going to do a great job, and I think the Giants are going to be in big trouble when they play. And I'm not saying Philly wins by a blowout or anything like that. I just think Saquon Barkley is going to absolutely be the difference in this game, and I think the Eagles win. I think they win and cover. We'll get to my picks at the bottom of the hour, but I think they will overcome, at least for this week, once again, Nick Sirianni's Bozo the Clown antics, and they'll find a way to win. I know Angel doesn't know what to expect, but I just think Saquon Barkley is going to take over this game, catching the ball and running the ball.
So you said prepare to be stunned. Well, be stunned, because the way these clowns have been playing as of late, I don't see it. And the Giants are expecting nothing but a run game from the Eagles anyway. So yeah, just prepare to be stunned.
Well, that's not going to be. They're going to be a balance. I mean, it's not like the Eagles are missing a bunch of wide receivers. I mean, just a question of execution. Philadelphia is better than the Giants. They're better.
Philly is better, but you barely beat the Browns by 4. And then you got that clown running. Oh, they told you guys I was going to run the ball. Get out of here with that nonsense. Listen, I would rather watch. What's the most boring game coming up this week? I'd rather watch that than watch what the hell's going to happen with the Eagles.
You're going to watch. Stop it. You're going to be watching. You're going to be glued to the TV. When you stop it, you may not like what you see. I'm telling you. The Eagles are going to win. The Eagles are going to win this game, and Barkley's going to have a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to the
beat. Pissed at Jalen Hurts and some of the coaching decisions. I'm not saying that. There's stuff to be worried about. I understand your trepidation, but the Eagles are better. Saquon Barkley is going that deep. Regardless of the classiness that he just showed about, doesn't think he has anything to prove. He is going to want to stick it to him. And as long as they don't force it, let it come naturally, I think they'll be fine. I think your Eagles will be fine. Now, the only thing I disagree with Saquon Barkley about is about getting booed. I mean, certainly if the situation were reversed and he was going back to Philly as a New York Giant on a trade, I think he would be booed severely. Now, Giants fans are a little more classier than Jets fans. They're more family-oriented over there. But I still think he's going to hear a few boos. I think for him not to hear some boos is crazy, even though most fans should realize it certainly was not his fault that deal got done. By the way, there's one thing to be concerned about if you're an Eagle fan. They have not scored in the opening quarter in this season. The last time that happened, the last time they went scoreless, Angel, in the first quarter of the first 7 games, you know what year it was?
1978.
Not even close. Earlier.
1905.
Higher. We'll do the prices right. Higher.
Oh, boy. 1940.
Lower.
1935.
Lower.
34.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. You've just won a new Chrysler Cordoba. Yes, the Eagles have not scored in the opening quarter this season, a dubious achievement they last reached in 1934 when they went scoreless in the first quarter of their first 7 games. By the way, Nick Sirianni said, if there was something magic, we would be doing it. We got to put the guys in position to succeed. We got to get ready, and the guys have to go out and execute. So my guess for a good prop bet this week would be and I don't know whether a first quarter under with the Giants and the Eagles, right? A first quarter under. That stat alone is tough to not get behind. So we'll see, Angel. So remember this. If your Eagles score in the first quarter, it's going to be a rout. It'll feel like a rout anyway because they haven't done it in 7 games. Unbelievable stuff. And we'll see if he jaws at the fans this week or keeps his mouth shut. Nick Sirianni. I'm talking about Nick Sirianni. All right, let's continue. Let's see. Tennessee at Buffalo. Amari Cooper on Josh Allen. Amari Cooper, remember, is now a Buffalo Bill. The trade earlier this week from the Browns. Amari Cooper on Josh Allen.
As far as the way he plays, I mean, it's phenomenal. Every time I turn on the television and watch him play, he plays with a lot of grit, a lot of hustle. He plays hard. And Obviously, he's been one of the top quarterbacks in the game for a while now. So just to be able to play with him and experience that in person, I think it's going to be real cool.
And here's Josh Allen on Amari Cooper.
It's Amari Cooper, so we're very excited about that. I know the whole offense is, and that receiver room, they're going to welcome him with open arms and be ready to work with him.
Meanwhile, Buffalo GM Brandon Beane talked about how the deal for Amari Cooper got going.
The process of securing a Cooper, and it sounded like it happened Monday afternoon. How soon would you or Sean talk to Josh about that and let him know what we're getting, and maybe even Josh is going to go watch some film? I just like to know how you connect the quarterback to this kind of decision.
Yeah, I mean, early on in Josh's career, I didn't really do much of that, but the last couple of years, I think he's earned that right. And in this case, we're in season, so in the off season, he'll kind of ask me what I'm thinking as far as who could be back, who we might not be able to afford, or things like that. And then he'll see free agents, and somehow he'll text me a name and with a question.
Somehow.
That guy. But, when the trade rumors started swirling on Devontae Adams, he definitely asked me about him. And, of course, I remind him where we are cap-wise and what his number is. And but we talked about some other guys, and at some point, in the last week or so, I mentioned that I have inquired. I don't know that it's going to go anywhere anytime soon, but you never know. We still got, a month left at that time. And, I stayed in contact with Andrew. Andrew Berry does a great job in Cleveland. He and I have always had I would say a very good relationship, and we shoot each other straight. And so we talked a couple times last week. We talked again after the game Sunday night. We talked some more Monday and put a pin in it to talk Tuesday and see where we were and where they were. I felt pretty good Monday going into our game that there could be this option for us to do this, if we wanted to make the move. And so got the win and got on that plane, and that's all I could think about on the way home was I'm going to sleep fast and see if I can, get this deal to the finish line. So excited to get Amari here.
All right, Brandon Beane, GM of the Buffalo Bills. That's with Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller on their great show on Sirius XM. I can't say that today. Sirius XM NFL Radio. Miami and Indianapolis coming up. Indy coach Shane Steichen on the Dolphins offense.
Yeah, they're two of the best in the league without a doubt. Big time speed, and I mean big time speed. So we got to do a great job this week of staying on top of those guys because they're a big play waiting to happen. But they got a lot of skill guys. The running back's a good player. He's explosive. They do a lot of good things in the run game. I think Mike does a hell of a job scheming that stuff up. So we got to play like we talked about last week. It's fundamentals. It's details. We got to be physical. We got to tackle for sure.
Meanwhile, head coach Mike McDaniel for the Miami Dolphins talking about Anthony Richardson. I'm not even sure he's supposed to play. I don't really know if it's Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson right now. This is from the Dolphins webpage. Mike McDaniel on Anthony Richardson.
I was like, wow, I haven't seen that. It's really, really big, fast, and as a cannon, And, yeah, he's a cool player to watch, very confident, and a problem for defenses, and you have to play team defense. Anytime you have to play team defense to minimize the impact of a player, that speaks to the player. Pass rush has to be connected to coverage. Run fits have to be on point, and you can do a lot of things if you allow him to. I think he saw him throw 65 today, going backwards. So I couldn't do that going forward. So he good player that I think their team in general has done a great job in playing football with both quarterbacks, and I think you have to be prepared for that.
There he is, the wild thing. Mike McDaniel, and words of inspiration, words of wisdom on Anthony Richardson.
When he's going up to the podium, but everybody else is going up to your running backs, wide receivers, safeties coach. Everybody goes up there like, all right, yeah, we're good. And then all of a sudden Mike comes in and like everybody Come on, man. It's like zero inspiration.
All right. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill on Adams and Cooper being traded. Played this yesterday, but it's worth repeating because he says it doesn't really matter.
They still not the best receiver in the league, because I am. And I stand on that. Yeah, what? Yeah, that's it. That's what we wanted. I want my mama to send me this and say, yo, you talking your trash today, because I am, man. Nah, I'm definitely happy for, Devontae, man. Teaming back up, with his old quarterback. I know that's obviously, where he wanted to be. And for Amari, I think him and Josh Allen, those two guys will play very well together because Amari is still like one of those guys that can get open, so it's going to be like a good test, man, for our DBs whenever we play them. But we got Jalen Ramsey on our team. He's great.
He ain't the same Jalen Ramsey as he was. All right, moving on. A couple more before we go to break. Kansas City at San Francisco, Super Bowl rematch again. This should be an outstanding game, but the 49ers are banged up. Andy Reid, though, talked about Juju Smith-Schuster, that stiff who couldn't do a damn thing with the Patriots, but now goes back to Kansas City. And Andy Reid had high praise for him.
What was just kind of your impression so far, just how much that Juju has kind of been able to kind of pick up where he was, in 2022 when he was with you guys?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's a veteran. He works hard and he's smart. So I think all of those kind of go into that. And Pat has trust in him. So, and we as coaches have trust in him, and we've tried to put him in good positions for his strengths and try to utilize those. And that's, I think all of those things kind of add up to production. But the main thing is he's kept himself in great shape and he's smart. He knows how to play the game.
Wonderful. Meanwhile, Joey Bosa for the 49ers reflects on the defensive breakdowns against KC in the Super Bowl and says, this time it counts.
Yeah, no, that was tough, especially because we have calls that could negate that. And we just didn't really, they ran the zone read a few times and we just didn't find an answer to it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely thought he was going to hold it or keep it, but I got to do my job, especially in a big moment like that. You can't go out of your job. But we definitely have a plan for the zone read this time. So hindsight's 2020.
Because you crashed, but that is your job, right?
That was, yeah.
Okay. But then you, mid-play, you're kind of like...
Yeah.
You did a shrug, but not a celebratory shrug. Can you even hint at what should have happened?
I mean, there's a couple of variables. I think the tight end came across, so that changes some things for the guys behind me. So I honestly don't know whose it is, but I just tried to make it decisive for the guys.
All right, there you have it. There's your NFL preview done as most as I can. 2 Monday Night Football games coming up. A great one, which I'll preview a big time. I'm going to save all the sound. Baltimore, Tampa Bay on Monday night. And the Chargers are at Arizona. 2 games once again on Monday Night Football. But when we come back, it is that time. My pigskin picks coming up. I'll recap what I've done for the season so far, truthfully, and have all of the picks. Break it all down for you. Coming up at 9 o'clock or 9:05, comedian Greg Murphy will be joining me for a little bit here. And then Gabe Morency at 9:30 will have his pigskin picks as well. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show on this Freaky Football Friday here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
This is just police repellent. All right, good looking crowd. First time in Utah. Yeah. It's very white. White people, let me share something with y'all. Y'all may not know. White people, y'all like to whisper the race of the person that you're talking about. Saw this happen to me one time. It was like, hey, you know, Mike Goodwin's gonna be there. The black guy. I was like, why are you whispering? That is not a secret. People give me a hard time because of my appearance. This is how I typically dress. People are like, Mike, why you always so dressed up? I'm like, I'm not dressed up. This is just police repellent. I'm just saying I never fit the description, you know. Officer pulled me over. He was like, is that a cardigan you got on? Why don't you just slow down, sir? I'm excited to be in the West. I'm from South Carolina. I'm from a town, Camden, South Carolina. From the South. I tell people wherever I go, I'm from the South with an F and not a TH. I'm from the South. One thing about Southerners, we have the unique ability to just make up words. You know, it's in our DNA. We say words like fin to and fixin'. What had happened was, that's one word right there. That's one tiny word. Matter of fact, my favorite word is a made-up word. It's 5 syllables. One word. What you not gonna do? Yeah, my mother said that a lot when I was growing up. My mother said stuff like, what you not gonna do is keep running in and out of this house. That's what you're not gonna do. What you're not gonna do is stand in front of that refrigerator and hold that door open. Little boy. That's what you're not gonna do. Y'all can use it at your job. You know, you go to work, you got that coworker that always asking you questions before you get settled. You're like, what you're not gonna do is come in here and ask me questions before I turn on my computer. That's what you're not gonna do. That's what you're not gonna do. We're unique in the South. We love nicknames in the South. I realize there's some people I've been knowing my entire life. I don't know their real names. My brother called me the other day. He said, hey, man, you know Mark Davis's mom passed away. It's like, I don't know Mark Davis, man. He's like, thank you, man. Thank you, mama passed. I was like, why you ain't say that from the start? I need to give Stank a call. You know, I think white dudes have the coolest nicknames. I really do. Because white dudes' nicknames go with them their entire life. White dudes have nicknames like Rusty, Skip, Chip. Like your nickname could be Chip. You could be the CEO of a bank. You could have Chip on your business cards. The brothers can't do that. Pookie can't be a branch manager at the bank. This is just police.
You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Plateau, batazo! ¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Con acaba de empatar en el cuento la Navidad en octubre! ¡Qué bárbaro, qué monstruo! este partido. Le dije a ustedes que esto no se ha acabado. Todavía hay una gran oportunidad. ¡Qué clase de palo, mi gente!
Translation, big Christmas for the Cleveland Guardians. Drives a stake into the Yankee Heart fans last night with that game-tying home run. Then the Guardians go on to win it on Fry's home run in extra innings. So, Angel, again, besides Feliz Navidad, for our people just tuning in, there was a Spanish call last night, obviously hysterical. What exactly were they saying?
They said it was the biggest home run of the night. They brought Christmas into October, which made it seem something small, even though it was gigantic. So they talked about Nate Brown obviously hitting the monstrous home run and just laughed up a storm because they thought, as he mentioned, that Big Christmas was going to hit something big, but then it was an explosion that came out of nowhere to obviously win the game. So that was a good call by the boys.
Absolutely. Alrighty, it is that time again. Not the witching hour where wins become losses and losses become wins, as Scott Hansen says every day around 3:30 on NFL Red Zone. But it's just about it is about that time. I missed doing these picks last week because of stupid Hurricane Milton. Had to evacuate. Couldn't give my picks. So I will tell you right now where we are at as we get things going here. So when last we spoke, I went 10-4-2 in the NFL a couple of weeks ago. So my NFL picks so far, these are all against the spread. 35, 25, and 4. That is a .578 winning percentage. Not going to get much better than that. My college football plays a little bit less at 11, 15, and 0. They're at 423. My best bets are 1 and 3. And hang on, did I have that right? Or am I reading the wrong sheet? Yeah, that's right. My best bets are 1 and 3 at... hang on, something's wrong. Did I put the wrong thing together here? I have so many sheets. No, my best bets are 1 and 3, 250, obviously. And my underdogs of the week are 2 and 2 at 500. Okay, now, all right, that's all set. All right, let's get to it. Enough fucking around here. Damn. Here we go. Are you ready? Angel Martinez. Well, let's start with college. So I'm going to do my top 5 college picks. Then I'm going to pick against the spread every single game in the NFL, as I always do. Now, there are a couple of teams that are off this week for the bye week. So there's only, including Monday Night Football, which there are 2, only 30 teams are playing this week. Dallas is off. I forget who else is off this week. All right, let's start in college, okay? And we're going to start tonight. Florida State is at Duke. The Seminoles, Angel, are a 3-point underdog at Duke. Do you know what Duke's record is against Florida State in 22 games, lifetime?
22 games, I'm going with 3-18.
That'd be 21 games.
Well, okay.
It's 22 games.
3-19.
Wrong, sir, wrong. I'll give you another guess.
Higher or lower?
Take a guess. Lower.
Okay, let's see. Duke. So I'll go with 1 and 20.
Lower. 1 and 20 is still 21. There's 22 games.
1 and 22. I mean, 1 and 21. Jesus Christ.
I'll give you a hint. 0 and 22. Florida State has never lost to Duke in 22 lifetime appearances. I can't go against that number. As bad as Florida State has been, and, I kind of like Manny Diaz as well, and Duke has been playing better football than Florida State on the whole this year, but I am sorry. I cannot go against 0 and 22 for Duke. I'm taking the Seminoles at Florida State plus the 3 tonight. Somehow they find a way to win. Next! Again, these games are in no particular order. Rutgers is -4.5 at home versus UCLA. I think UCLA stinks. They're going to travel across the country to Piscataway, New Jersey. Nothing like Piscataway on October 20th, Angel. Rutgers -4.5. Shiano and company, I believe, get it done. UCLA stinks. Big game coming up Alabama and Tennessee. Wow. Number 7 versus number 11. This is at Neyland Stadium. The side in this game I don't want any part of, but I will take a part of the total. Alabama, Tennessee, over 56.5. Alabama, Tennessee, over 56.5. Don't give me this nonsense about Tennessee's defense. It's very good. It's excellent. But something happens when they play Alabama. They give up 30-plus points. And I think Alabama's going to score. I don't know who's going to win this game. It's going to be very tight. I can't wait to watch it. But Alabama and Tennessee, over 56.5. Next! The big one at night. The Georgia Bulldogs are 4.5-point underdogs. They're at Texas. Everybody on the planet that I know of is taking Texas in this one. I am not. I am going with the Bulldogs plus 4.5. Bulldogs plus 4.5. I think they can win the game outright. It is an incredible hostile environment. Texas has not played a lot of great offenses here. I think they haven't played any in the top 71. So I'm taking that into consideration. Plus, Kirby Smart, except for playing in Tuscaloosa, knows how to win big games on the road. He can do it. I think Georgia gets back on track, and they upset Texas. Minor upset. Plus 4.5. I'll take that 4.5-point start with the Georgia Bulldogs. Next! I'll give you a bailout game in college on my last college pick. It's a bailout game, but I love it. UNLV, which is still playing pretty well despite losing their quarterback a couple of weeks ago. But in Corvallis at Oregon State, I will take the 7-point head start and go with the Beavers. Oregon State plus 7 versus UNLV. I'm guaranteeing 4-1 this week, Angel, or the next 2 months. No, you know what? The rest of the college football season is free if I don't go at least 4-1 in my picks. All right? Write that down. Next, we head to the National Football League. Let me switch over my little screen here for a second. All right. We began last night in Denver. I had the Broncos -3 because the Saints were really banged up. I didn't give that pick out on the air, but I'm doing the honor system here. I picked Denver. So there you have it. All right, now, starting in London with the Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Patriots right now are 5.5-point underdogs, and I am going with the Patriots in this one. I think the Jaguars are vulnerable. I think Doug Peterson is fighting for his life. I don't think he survives London, no matter what happens if they lose or by how many. I don't care if it's 3 or 33. I think May to poke. Not once, but twice, Angel. Twice in this game. And the Patriots, in a higher scoring game than people think, going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're going to win the game outright, but I'll take the 5.5-point head start. So Patriots plus 5.5. Next! Falcons are home. 3-point favorites at home against Seattle. Seattle's one of the few teams that plays decent when they travel across the country playing these 1 o'clock games. Not that it's across the country, down south a little bit. But I'll tell you what, I'm taking the Falcons in this one. Seattle's done a lot of traveling these days. I'm taking the Falcons -3 against Seattle. Next! The Buffalo Bills and their new acquisition, Amari Cooper. They're 9.5-point favorites at home against the Tennessee Titans. I am laying the 9.5. It's always a big number, no matter how good or bad some of the teams are. It's always a big number to lay. Anything over 7 is a big number to lay in the NFL. A lot of backdoor covers here, but I'm going to take a chance. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this one by a couple of touchdowns and lay the 9.5. Buffalo -9.5 over Tennessee. Next! Toughest game on the board, I think, to call. It is the Cleveland Browns, who are 5.5-point underdogs at home versus Cincinnati. I think Stefanski is in big trouble. I think the Browns are in big trouble. I think Deshaun Watson stinks. I think Jameis Winston should be playing. I think this organization is in a world of shit right now. No question about it. The Bengals are playing better. But sometimes what seems nearly impossible is possible. And that's why I think the Browns, like they did last week against your Eagles, are going to get a stupid backdoor cover here. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns plus 5.5. I don't feel great about it, but on the other hand, I feel good about it because I know how the NFL works. And this is one of those crazy lines, and the home team is an underdog by 5.5 points. That is a lot. Cincinnati should be able to win and cover, but I don't think they will. I think that Cleveland's going to get a late score, a backdoor cover, and I'm taking the Browns plus 5.5. Call me kooky. Next, Green Bay is at home in the not-so-frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, taking on the Houston Texans. Green Bay is a 2.5-point favorite. I say lay it. Lay the 2.5. Houston so far stinks against the NFC North, as we saw earlier this year in Minnesota. But no, Green Bay minus 2.5. I think Houston's an excellent football team. I think Green Bay is a really good football team as well. And you're telling me they could just win by a field goal at home? I think they get it done. Jordan Love is playing well. Green Bay's playing pretty well. I'm taking the Pack at home in the not-so-frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Green Bay minus 2.5. Penguin AZ says, morning, fellas, and go Pack, go. Rick says, Seattle winning in Atlanta, not going to happen. Yes, I didn't think so. I picked Atlanta minus 3. All right, next. One of the games of the day, maybe the game of the day. Minnesota minus 1.5 at home versus Detroit. This is a tough one. Aiden Hutchinson is out for the Lions, and Minnesota has yet to lose. I only have gone against them twice this year, the first 2 games of the season. I've been riding them. I'm going to keep riding them. That's Sam Darnold and company. Minnesota Vikings find a way to stay undefeated at minus 1.5. They win a thriller, Angel, in overtime. Mark it down. Minnesota in overtime, 33-30 over Detroit on a game-winning field goal by what's his name, who's can't come to my thoughts right now. But I like him. I like him. Vikings win. 33-30 in overtime against Detroit, and my neighbors to the east and the south and west of me. I'll hear them screaming and moaning and kvetching the whole game until they win, and then they'll all be dancing around semi-naked around their respective households. Vikings win 33-30 in overtime. Meanwhile, next, Angels, Philadelphia Eagles are on the road at the New York Giants. The Eagles are a 3-point favorite. I love the Eagles in this game by at least a touchdown. I think Saquon Barkley is going to have at least 2 touchdowns, maybe even more. Last time I predicted he'd have at least 2. He had 3. I think he's going to make a statement. I think they're going to try to give him the ball as much as possible. Just don't force it to him, Jalen Hurts. Let it come. Let it flow naturally. Let it flow naturally. Naturally, okay? Like some nice garlic butter over toast. Nice, baguette before it warms in the oven. Let it flow like that.
Sure.
And Eagles win. The Eagles win -3 over the Giants. Next, the LA Rams are -6.5 points at home against the pathetic Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think the Rams deserve to be a 6.5-point favorite, but I'm going to lay the 6.5 here as well. This is a game I would completely stay away from, but I do think they can cover. You wouldn't think a few weeks ago that the Rams would be favored by 6.5 over anybody, but the Vegas Raiders are in disarray. Devontae Adams is gone, and I think the Rams can win this one by double digits. So the Rams -6.5. Lay it. Meanwhile, next up, Carolina is an 8-point underdog on the road at Washington. This is another one of those screwy lines. If I had told you, what if I told you the Washington Commanders would be favored by 8 over anybody, heading into week 7 of the NFL season? You would have said I was nuts. This is another game. The Red Rifle and the best ginger quarterback in the league, Andy Dalton, and the Carolina Panthers +8. Get a backdoor cover here. I think they get it done at Washington. This is one of those games that the Commanders better be careful of and not read too many of their press clippings. They're well-deserved, the accolades they've been getting. Jaden Daniels and company playing great. Dan Quinn's been coaching fantastic on the whole. But be very, very careful, Angel, because the Panthers are coming for a backdoor cover. Carolina +8. Next! Kansas City is a 1-point underdog at San Francisco. The banged-up 49ers. Kansas City is +1. For some reason, Juju Smith-Schuster has been reborn again. To add insult to injury. You got to take the Chiefs here. The Chiefs +1. It doesn't matter. Super Bowl rematch. I know you heard Joey Bosa say earlier that they've got some kind of a plan on the read option for Kansas City that they didn't have in the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. I'll believe it when I see it. It should be a hell of a game. I'm sure the 49ers are going to put up a fight. But Kansas City as an underdog, are you kidding me? Kansas City +1 at San Francisco. Next! This is the game that I fear the most because I don't know what Mike Tomlin is doing. Pittsburgh is a 2-point underdog at home for the stupid New York Jets who have gotten Davante Adams. So Aaron Rodgers is surrounded by all his binkies. They're all there. That was my thumb being a binky.
Yes.
Threatening as that is. But binky, Binky Palooza is all over the place for Aaron Rodgers, and I still don't like him in the game. I don't know what Mike Tomlin is doing, what mind games he thinks he might be playing, benching Justin Fields. Possibly it looks like Russell Wilson is going to start. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. It's atrocious, preposterous, outrageous. But I'm still taking the Steelers at +2 to watch the stupid Jets implode once again while all the binkies get sucked dry and spit out by Aaron Rodgers. Going to be fabulous. All right. And I guess I'll give my picks for Monday night as well. Even though I'll reiterate them coming up on Monday. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +3.5 at home against Baltimore. You know Baltimore is one of my Super Bowl teams this year, but Tampa Bay is playing great football right now. Baker Mayfield arguably would be the MVP of the league right now. He's surpassed Josh Allen for the moment anyway. For the moment, they're neck and neck. But I give Josh Allen, some of the numbers are a little bit better than Josh's. Right now, you'd have to really consider him as the MVP. So I'd say Tampa Bay +3.5. Get on it now at home against Baltimore on Monday Night Football. Home underdog or 3 points or more, no matter what it is. Got to love the home team in that spot. And then the Chargers -2.5 at Arizona. I am not a believer in Arizona at all. I am a believer in Jim Harbaugh and the culture that he has implemented with the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert and company, I think, get it done on Monday night as well. I hate the fact that there are 2 Monday night games, -2.5 at Arizona. So, to reiterate, well, actually, no, I think my best bet and my underdog of the week. My best bet is Kansas City +1 over San Francisco. I just think they win the game outright. At +1 is basically a pick game, but I'll take a 1-point head start as well. I think Kansas City wins the game by 6. They get it done. They don't blow a lot of people out no matter who they're playing, usually. My underdog of the week comes in college football. It is indeed the side of the Tennessee-Alabama game. And I will take Tennessee +3 at home at Neyland Stadium to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide as number 11 beats number 7. They are 16-1 at home in Neyland, right? The last 17 games. 16-1. All right? I'm going to go with the Tennessee Volunteers +3 over Alabama. Now, remember, they have to win the game outright or I don't win the bet on this show. So that's my underdog of the week, the Volunteers of Tennessee +3. And Kansas City +1 is my best bet of the week. Going back to all my pigskin picks to recap in college, FSU +3, Rutgers -4.5, Alabama, Tennessee over 56.5, Georgia +4.5 at Texas, Oregon State +7 versus UNLV. Although Oregon tonight, be very, very careful at Purdue. Purdue has a bad habit of beating teams like this. You've seen them beat Ohio State before. You've seen them beat Iowa before. You've seen them beat teams in this situation. Oregon's a huge favorite tonight on the road against Purdue. She nearly came back from a gazillion points down last week to beat Illinois, but they came short. But Oregon better be very careful tonight in that game. We'll get Gabe Morency's thoughts at the bottom of the hour as well. Going to the NFL, to recap, I had Denver -3, Patriots +5.5, Atlanta -3, Buffalo -9.5, Cleveland +5.5, Green Bay -2.5, Indy -3, Minnesota -1.5, Philadelphia -3, the Rams -6.5, Carolina +8, Kansas City +1, Pittsburgh +2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday night +3.5, along with the LA Chargers -2.5. There are your pigskin picks. I'm exhausted, Angel. Exhausted. All right. Let me see. Before we go to break and get ready for Greg Murphy, comedian Greg Murphy, who's not on the cruise ship this week. Trying to get him on the last couple of weeks. He was in Alaska. Then he was in the middle of that Hurricane Helene. It was off to Cancun, and somehow his ship avoided that. And thank God he is still with us. We'll get his thoughts. What it was like being on the open seas in the midst of a major hurricane. Angel, if we could scroll down on Twitter, right underneath the show, Pat McAfee is at the Mean Machine. Son of a buck. So Kirk Herbstreit talking about some college football here before we go to break. Funny stuff as usual.
Herbie, while you were giving that Georgia-Texas answer, there was that train coming down the track. It's almost like, what's that coming down the track?
Train in the
Is that the Mean Machine?
Of the
Okay. Al Michaels staying on the tracks?
Son of a buck.
Son of a buck. That thing's right outside, pal.
Yeah, I'm going to have to shut this. I'm enjoying this breeze. It's actually kind of cool down here on the Delta.
They muted your buck there on ESPN. Dick Good got you there. He quick triggered you. Herbstreit's not going to say anything.
No, he wouldn't.
He says, son of a buck.
Yeah.
Speaking of a buck, if you got a few, and you got a feeling what's going to happen tonight, why not gamble with ESPN bet?
You should. Yeah, of course.
A lot of different
Who's favored in this game?
Broncos by 3.
Drew Brees being honored. Halftime. Got the chant. Never know.
1, 2, win.
For you.
3, 4, win.
Some more.
5, 6, win.
For kids.
7, 8, win.
Again.
9, 10, win.
Again.
Again. Bye.
That was a real train that went by. Obviously, that was yesterday in pre. But if you want to know really what the chant they're talking about, here it is.
Here we go. 1, win. 3, win. 5, win. 7, win. 9, win. 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 Win.
Oh,
Drew Brees.
boy. Oh, boy. Well, they did not win. They got blown out last night as well. Blown out last night. They have a mass unit for a football team, the New Orleans Saints. But nevertheless, good job by Drew Brees being honored last night. All right, quick break. When we come back, comedian Greg Murphy is going to join us. He's on land, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, but he is on land this week. So we'll get to his thoughts on everything that's going on in the world and how his comedic career is going and being on the cruise ship during fleeing a hurricane, basically. That had to be nerve-wracking as hell. But we'll get his thoughts on all of that and a whole lot more. Pete Sheppard Show continues here. Hour number 3 is next on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
High on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. High on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by High on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Thank you. I started walking towards the stage 3 comics ago. 40 years ago, when I started doing stand-up, everyone told me it was a great way to meet women. We'll see. I joined a dating site. for people my age called carbon dating. I asked a woman on the site for her number. She told me it was 140 over 95. The great thing about dating a woman my own age, I don't worry about meeting her parents. Before I got my hearing aids, my crowd work was terrible. I asked an audience member where he was from. He said, my mama. I heard Miami and said, I've been there. Recently, my Uber driver was from Egypt, and when I got into his car, he was talking over a phone in Arabic, only I didn't see any device, so I thought he was talking to me, using syllables I didn't recognize. And I thought, so, this is what a stroke is like. I've become clumsy in my old age. Anybody ever drop their phone in the toilet? There you go. I did, and after I did, I put my phone in a bag of rice. Anybody ever drop a bag of rice in the toilet? I took a quiz on Facebook called What's Your Spirit Animal? I got extinct. I had a colonoscopy, and when it was over, they said, we'll see you in 10 years. And I thought, the fuck you will. I tried using that face aging app. They said, nah, you're good. I'm a gamer. Do we have any gamers? What's your game? Rocket League. I'm sorry? Rocket League. Tic-tac-toe. Sometimes till 7 o'clock at night. Walking can be difficult for me at times. I do worry about tripping and falling, so I wear a helmet. I also worry about looking ridiculous, so I carry a skateboard. I used to smoke cigarettes. I was a heavy smoker. I would even smoke when I went jogging, which is stupid, of course. So I quit jogging. I love smoking cigarettes. I'd smoke after sex. I'd smoke during sex. Sometimes I would skip sex and just smoke cigarettes. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Se puso la Navidad y no ha nevado todavía. Lo que cayó fue la explosión que le dije a ustedes si se pasaban Nate Thomas, algo iba a pasar. La puso chiquitita. John Kelsey Noel, gozando se empate este partido. Le dije a ustedes que esto no se ha acabado. Todavía hay una gran oportunidad. ¿Qué clase de palo, mi gente?
All right, welcome back. Hour number 3 as we're trying to get Greg Murphy, get him going here with an email. Apparently there is some confusion. All our guests need to start saving it in private files, but I just sent you his email address again, Angel, just in case. He said he didn't, for some reason, he didn't have it. I'm sure it's the same one. I'm sure you did. I don't know what happens. All right, I appreciate it. Thanks. I'm not responsible for these people. I have my own file, Pete, that has everything in it that I could possibly need. My own separate file. By the way, that's a Spanish call last night in case you missed it on TBS. And what a game. As a big Christmas, the game-tying home run, and then Fry with the 2-run shot in the 10th, and the Cleveland Guardians go on to beat the Yankees 7-5 to extend the playoff series. They win Game 3, so 2-1. Yankees are up. Dodgers clobbered the Mets. They're up 3-1. Both series resume tonight, by the way. So thanks for joining us here on the Coastal Sports Network, on Twitter X at PShep326. On Facebook, you can follow me, and on SR1029 The Game, SR1029thegame.com, on CSN Florida, on Kick, ION-TB, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. Nobody has a bigger video platform than we do around doing this stuff. It's been fantastic. Call or text at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Rick says, I'm taking Sirianni plus 1.5 outbursts with the Giants fans. Now, I think he knows the camera will be on him under like a microscope, so I'm not sure that he will be. I think he'll keep his cool. And I think Saquon Barkley will have a lot to do with that, because I do think he's going to have at least a couple of touchdowns, and we shall see. I think the Eagles win that game, as I just said in my predictions. Let me see, we get Murph's Twitter page up here. Well, we get ready for him to call in with the link. So, yeah, there you have it. And he has and Murph has a unique sense of humor, obviously. We get his thoughts. Seriously, he was on a cruise ship that was left from Tampa, or was headed back to Tampa after leaving and going to Cancun. And it was like kind of, they were trying to beat the storm, Hurricane Helene, I believe. And somehow, I don't know, all went well. I'll let him explain the whole story to you, but it's quite amusing. Plus, we'll get his thoughts on everything as he's trying to connect. And there he is, beaming aboard. Thank you, Scotty, in engineering. It is Greg Murphy joining us here. Greg, how are you doing? How does it feel to be back on land?
It's good, Pete. How are you? I am back in hometown, kind of area.
Where are you driving, or did you pull over?
I am currently in Hanover, Massachusetts.
Ah, very nice, very nice, very nice. I was just telling people about your extraordinary journey from Tampa to Cancun. Can you care to reiterate what happened while you were doing, while you're cruising but in the midst of all of this, how that must have been frightening, a lot of trepidation, right? I mean, my God.
So it's weird. It's when you're on a cruise ship, they are so in tune with the weather that you're never even close to a hurricane. The ship, you wouldn't even know there's a hurricane going on. They steer clear of them. They know exactly where they are, but it screws up itineraries and travel and all that. So I got on board in Tampa 2 days late because of the last hurricane. Then while we're on board, this other one develops.
Milton.
Literally as we're on the ship, and now they're scrambling. They're like, we can't go back to Tampa. We have to stay in Mexico and hide from it. And then they thought we were going to Fort Lauderdale, and then we ended up coming back to Tampa 2 days late. And it was a sense of relief in that area that they didn't get destroyed.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously some Angels up that way, so they got there's a ton of damage up that way. Don't be fooled by that. But the people on board who live in Tampa, right? And most of them, I'm assuming a lot of them lived in Tampa. I know some people probably drove from other parts of the state or other parts of the Southeast to get there. But I mean, they had to be on pins and needles the entire time on the cruise. That had to be tough, especially being a Canadian.
It was the craziest thing, because you talk to people and they're like, they're having like my guys going, yeah, my house might be being destroyed right now, but what am I going to do about it? let me have more drinks. So it was a calm peacefulness of like, I might be going back to nothing, so I might as well just sit here and drink.
I remember being on vacation many years ago. I think it was 2010 when Sandy hit New Jersey. And I was in the Dominican, and we were talking to this couple in the pool, and she just burst into tears all of a sudden. She had her phone with her, even at the pool bar, which I don't, whatever. And she said, "Oh my God, like, what's the matter?" And she showed us as her house was blowing across the street.
Oh, Jesus.
So her husband went up and said, her husband quietly got up, very nice, and came back about 20 minutes later and said, "We're okay." And he booked an extra 2 weeks at the hotel because he's like, "What are we going to do? There's nothing. We got no house to go back to. The insurance is going to handle it, that yada, yada, yada." So, but I mean, how was it telling, drinks, or how was it telling, doing your stand up? But, while people were kind of on pins and needles, how many people were on their phone, like looking at the weather while they're at you? I hope they relaxed a little bit.
You would be shocked at how relaxing it was, and that people just tune out. They shut off when they go on a cruise. They don't turn on the news. And, I ended up like breaking, news flashes to them about like, there was like 48 tornadoes in Sarasota, and they couldn't believe it. But I don't know. I guess Floridians, you guys are just kind of, every time this year this happens, and there's kind of like it's going to happen type situation that they were going through there.
Tough nails, and it's a difficult. I mean, New Englanders and Northeasterners in Philadelphia are tough too, and we deal with their blizzards and their share of bad weather and everything else. But it's kind of devastating down here when you get two huge, gigantic storms like that back to back. The stress level is ridiculous. Like I said, where I live in Fort Myers, very, very lucky. Fort Myers Beach got hit, downtown Fort Myers got hit. I'm in the middle. My biggest thing was I hurt my thumb resetting the breaker for my microwave. That's the only thing that tripped. We evacuated to Fort Lauderdale, but
on what a scale of 10 was your owie?
A -2.
Sad face. The sad face one. Here's the win, I think, for Tampa and St. Petersburg.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're ever going to play baseball at the Tropicana again.
Well, that's what I said. They've been trying to build a field in either Ybor City or around the area, or get out of there. I agree, and it was a stupid. Did anybody really think that was going to be a cool place or a safe place for people? They had like 10,000 carts set up, like a barracks, for people to evacuate to. I mean, we all remember what happened for Katrina in New Orleans, and that place is double the size of Tropicana Field, basically. And that place got the roof. I just thought it was a horrible idea. I mean, I appreciate the effort, but no way Tropicana Field was going to stay.
Oh, it's like at the end of the movie The Martian, when Matt Damon has to put a tarp on top of a space capsule. It's not going to hold.
I haven't seen that movie. Can you believe it? I've seen every movie possible. But speaking of horror movies, I saw the remake of Salem's Lot. Did you see that?
I have not even seen the first one.
Oh, the first one is classic Stephen King. Anyway, so I'm glad you were safe and sound. But but it seemed like where you were headed to, like Cancun area, that the Hurricane Milton was still going to sort of reach that area, but I guess it didn't.
No, it did. They got rain in Cozumel, and they closed Cozumel for a day, and then again, these ports down there, they'll close for a couple hours, they'll check it, and they reopen. It's business. It's amazing how all these cruise ships can coordinate to avoid, these hurricanes, but end up still giving you a good vacation.
During all this time, how much comic relief are you getting from the political debates, both sides? I mean, it's just enough material there to, write a book about. It's just unbelievable.
It's amazing that when I'm on a cruise, like the crew members. It's like every country you could possibly think of. They're from around the world.
Yeah.
And they're astonished that they're like, this country has these two idiots to choose from.
Yeah.
I don't care what political side you fall on. These two people that's the best we can come up with. It amazes other people from around countries. They're like, these are your leaders that
I say that, I don't talk politics on the show. Look, it's always about the lesser of two evils. The last election, I wrote in two of my best friends, Jim and Brian. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, in truth, the first time I voted for Trump, second time I couldn't do it. I'm still undecided. I'm not. There's no way I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I mean, somebody that has no platform at all. You try to ask her a question about why is she different from Joe Biden, and she starts talking about how she grows string beans in her backyard or whatever. And him is just as much of a nut job on the other side, who's almost as whacked out as Biden can be the way he speaks. And so it's always a lesser of two evils. I can't stand any of them. I cannot believe this is what it's come down to. But I always am glad for you because you got a ton of material to choose from.
Again, like you just said, I don't dip my toes into politics on stage because you're gonna lose 50% of the audience, and now you're digging yourself one way, unless it's something genuinely funny, like that everyone can get on board with. It's not they don't know for like, so I'm not a famous comedian. When I get on a ship, nobody knows who I am. They call you the comedian. They don't know my name. If you are a political comedian, people come to see you for that. So there's a different way of doing it. Like, Bill Burr is going to be able to do that because they expect it.
Yeah.
I go on board and start, crapping on Trump, and half the audience pulls out their rifles and gets mad, shoots up in the air, and leaves.
Them there's fighting words.
Yeah. You're not dealing with high intelligence on ships anyway, and not to burst the bubble of these passengers. I had one recently. I go, anybody from the West Coast? And a woman goes, yeah, I'm from St. Petersburg. And I go, no, not the West Coast of Florida, you idiot.
Well, but you did dock from there, so I mean, I can sort of, I can.
It's probably the furthest she's ever been from civilization. I had one woman on the elevator hit deck 4. The door's open. She stands there. She hits deck 4 again. The door's open. She stands there. She hits it again, and the woman behind me goes to interrupt and goes, excuse me, ma'am. I go, don't you ever interrupt this. We're going to see how long this woman sits here before she realizes that she's on deck 4.
My Scotty Lunas paid me a visit. What are you doing, baby? Come here. It'll be like Nick Sirianni. I'll bring you up here like he brings his kids up, and we'll bounce you on my knee.
That should be illegal, by the way. I hate it when they bring kids up.
So do I. It's like child abuse to me.
It reminds me of the old SNL skits with Rudy Giuliani's kid, played by Chris Farley.
That is hysterical. You're right.
What are you talking about, Dan?
You jump up. I had forgotten about that. That is fantastic. Now, if you may, because you do some great impersonations, I got a couple for you. One, as Robert Kraft, tell me your thoughts about the status of the Patriots right now, and heading to London this week. Your thoughts about that?
I'd rather talk about the Aaron Hernandez show. Are you guys watching that?
We'll get to that as well.
Obviously, Robert Kraft is in the show, and I am portrayed by one Styles from Teen Wolf. I don't know if you know that.
Which Teen Wolf? The first one with Michael J. Fox or the remake?
Yeah, his name is Jerry Levine, is playing. I can't get over it. I started watching it, and I went, holy crap, that's Styles.
Well, let me ask you, Robert, in the show with about Aaron Hernandez, why are your face painted like a big Oompa Loompa?
Well, if you know, these massage parlors are very much located next to tanning salons. So it is one-stop shopping for one Robert the Kraft.
And how do you feel you're being portrayed in the series with Aaron Hernandez?
I am hoping to get into one of these gay scenes. There's a lot of gay, and I am just waiting for the call. I love anybody's sexuality, but that show went from 0 to gay at 100 miles per hour, and it's still turning. It is amazing.
Immediately, they didn't cut any corners about that. And
no,
but how about the Bill Belichick stuff too? The guy portraying. How do you feel about the acting in it? At first, I was like, okay. Now I sit back and I laugh. The best guy in the whole thing, as far as is the guy who does Urban Meyer. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah. No, so it's very much done on purpose to drag you in. It's supposed to be bad acting. It's like the O.J. Simpson one with when David Schwimmer was in it. Like it is bad on purpose. I'm convinced of it, and it sucks me in. I'm waiting for the next episode.
I haven't watched the last one yet. I usually do it on Fridays after the show. Honestly, it comes out on Hulu and no commercials. But Robert Kraft is orange faced, and when he finally gets drafted after Belichick makes his little speech, and here Robert, call it in. Such authority.
Make the call, Jonathan.
Now I'm going to ask you another great impersonation, and he is back in baseball. Congratulations, Terry Francona, the new skipper of the Cincinnati Reds, coming out of retirement. Congratulations, Tito.
Yeah, it is a good thing to be back, and I've been to Cincinnati before, and I don't know if you know this, but they take spaghetti and they put chili on it.
Now, where do you stand on chili? Beans or no beans?
The thing is, I like to take craps with the door open, so when I get my chili, it is amazing. I'm a bean guy. And again, with the beef.
How's your circulation these days, Terry?
Very, very good. To adequate. I don't even know if I still do it correctly. It's been a while, but I actually think he is the best manager Red Sox have ever had, and
no question.
I am so happy. I think he's great. I might be a Reds fan now.
He loves you too.
I am a guy without. I do not have a team, so I might be a Reds fan. I literally hate the Red Sox. I'm not going to deny that. I don't like them
because of the ownership.
I have for about 6-7 years. So I've been bouncing around Orioles for a little bit, and I don't really have any. I've been watching this one, and I think I'm rooting for a Mets Yankees Subway Series, to be honest with you.
Yeah, last time that happened was like 2000, I think, and Buck and I on the Big Show were having an argument with Glenn because Buck and I were on the same page. I thought it was going to be the highest World Series rated of all time. It was one of the lowest of all time.
But it did have fireworks. It did have
Roger Clemens throwing the bat and all that stuff, and right?
Still here.
Oh yeah, it was Roger Clemens, the drama, and they did have drama in that series.
Yeah. And I think this one will too. It's well, obviously you gotta want Shohei versus Judge too. That's another thing. They're in good shape with this whatever World Series it could be, and I would be rooting for Cleveland if they still were the Cleveland Indians, and that has nothing to do with politics. That just has to do with my favorite movie is Major League, and it's pissing me off that I can't have that view of seeing the Indians versus Yankees like it happens in the movie. And every time I see Guardians, it pisses me off because I want that movie feel.
No better character than Pedro Serrano. You telling me that Jesus Christ doesn't know how to hit a curveball? It's true. You like him very much, but he
I know an inappropriate amount of stuff about that movie. It is.
Oh, tell. Say whatever you want.
I am a stat nerd when it comes to that movie. For instance, the home run that Pedro hits, the big home run at the end.
Yes.
In real life, he hits that home run, and the crowd goes absolutely bananas because he parked it.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that.
Steve Yeager is the third base coach.
Oh, from the Dodgers. Okay, that's right. Yes, that's right. Great catcher back. Him and Socha used to were two of the best tandem catchers of all time.
Yeah. No, that movie I've studied. They've made documentaries on it, and the stuff I always seem to figure out. Not figure out, but I find out something new about that movie all the time, and it just fascinates me. I think it's the greatest sports movie of all time.
Pedro Serrano is, of course, a President Palmer from 24.
Dennis Haysbert, yeah.
Yes. Great actor.
Also a good baseball player in Mr. Baseball.
I did not. With Tom Selleck?
Yeah, you've never seen that movie?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh,
I've seen almost every baseball. And as far as great baseball movies go, I think Major League is right. I love Bull Durham, too.
Yeah.
I love Bull Durham. Charlie, here comes the deuce. when you speak.
Grady Little was the baseball advisor on Bull Durham.
I did not know that either. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The notorious
I think he was
manager who left Pedro Martinez in 2003 too long.
And I was the manager before 35 Kona. I was the one with the Pedro Martinez.
Why'd you leave Pedro in so long?
Pedro wanted to stay. He told me I wanted to stay out of the mound. Again, is anyone going to get that that voice?
Well, all the New England people listening will. Those who remember Grady Little, nice man. He actually was a pretty good manager, but right up until he wasn't. And man, I remember coming home on the plane that day from LaGuardia. I remember walking right into the EEI at the New Balance building, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to say it. Everybody knew. They just knew the look I had. I had this about to go green look like the Hulk. I was like, don't even ask me if I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I will explode. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Don't you miss that though? Do you miss that?
Well, you know what? Glenn, I have Glenn on
caring.
like once a month.
I miss caring though. I miss that really ruined my day. Now I don't maybe it's just I'm getting old. I don't care now. But that game, that ball hit Aaron Boone's bat, and I was out the door of the bar, Franco's in Waltham, before it landed in the stands.
I was at Yankee Stadium. I had to sit there and watch it, and then I just got the hell out. It was crazy. Oh, we lose Murph. Damn it. We got to take a break anyway. All right. Yeah, that's probably exactly what happened. And we're going to take a break anyway because Gabe Morency is going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. See if Murph gets back to us. Oh, let me see.
I can almost bet it's a phone call.
Yeah. Oh, that's Murph getting back to us.
Yep. I think there he is.
There he is, Murph. All right. Hey, Greg. Yeah, you're back, but
I feel like NASA's coming to rescue me, like the space people up stuck in the shuttle.
Hey, thanks so much. All the best. And I'm sure you heard about our good friend Jerry Thornton and his brother passing away, which sucked. So I don't know if you do go to the wake or whatever, if you were around. It's just I already reached out to Jerry, but just express my condolences to him and the family.
Absolutely.
I know you guys are real close. Murph, thanks so much as well. We'll talk again. When are you off to wherever you're going?
I am leaving again Wednesday. I'm going on a ship out of Miami.
Nice. Fantastic. All right. We'll talk again soon. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes.
All right. See you, Pete.
All right. Thanks a lot. Greg Murphy joining us, great comedian from the New England area who's on all these mega cruise ships. All right. Quick break. And then Gabe Morency coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontb.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
You know what I mean? Like, are we talking Franklin or Pulaski? Like, how far? Because when you get to the deep, deep South, it's scary. I've seen movies. I'm not trying to do that. I mean, if they have a TJ Maxx there, I will pray about it. And I'm a good neighbor. Like State Farm, I'm there. I love my neighbors. I'm the one that has everybody's phone number. And if I haven't seen you in a while, I will send you a text. Are you good? Do I need to do a welfare check? I got your back. Because I love my neighbors. Every holiday season, I'm gonna get my neighbors a gift. Not the whole neighborhood, just the houses I can see from a front window. Because I love my neighbors, as long as they love me. And I know that's not how the Bible verse goes. But that is my interpretation. This is not the New King James Version. This is a new Queen Angela version. This is Angela 5:14. Do unto me as you want to get done. That's how you say amen in my Bible. You could come to my Bible study. It's on Tuesdays. Learning a lot. One thing I learned right out the gate is allergies are a whole different beast in the South. Because when I live in Los Angeles, we don't really get all the seasons. We get summer and fire. So Zyrtec works just fine there. Then I get here, come to find out, Zyrtec lost their subscription or something. It did not work. One day I went to pour the Zyrtec pill in my hand and the wind just blew it off. It was like, don't bother. It's so fun waking up every morning playing COVID or allergies. You guys know that game? Where you wake up in the morning and your sinuses are doing a weird thing, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. Am I dying or did I have dairy? Can I taste anything? Get me some peanut butter. Can I taste? I was actually really lucky. For the first 2 years, I did not get COVID at all. And then earlier this year, she got me, little hoe. She gets around that one. At this point, I know more people who have had it than who have not had it. I know people who've had it with no symptoms whatsoever, and I know people personally who have passed away from it. So my heart goes out to anybody here who has lost somebody from COVID. I've been tested for it many times, and the first time I got tested, my friends tried to warn me about it. They were like, yo, it's intense. And it actually wasn't that bad, probably because they let me do it myself. Yeah, they gave me the Q-tip. And they're like, okay, you want to go all the way in your sinuses? And I was like, okay. Sure. How about I just put it in my nostril and I wiggle it a lot? Can you test boogers? I'll give you some of those. The second time I got COVID tested, the nurse did it, and he went all the way up in there to where like my eyelids started closing. I was like, whoa.
For the best in college football and NFL talk, check out The Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Come on. You know what I'm talking about.
Whiskey and you wanna
Yeah.
sugar in your tea.
That's what Angel's going to be doing during the Philly game.
Question they're asking me. This is the craziest party that could ever be.
You know what, Angel, watching the Eagles and Giants going to be like this. Yeah, come on, Angel, sing along. Gotta love this song.
Open up the window. Let some air into this room.
Yo, see that, Angel? Open up the window.
I think I'm almost choking from the smell of stale perfume.
What the Eagles?
Exactly choking. Let's get him to
Come on.
Open up the window, sucker. Let me catch my breath.
2, 3. That is one of the greatest songs of all time, in my opinion. Three Dog Night had the luxury pleasure of seeing them towards the end. think a couple of people died in the group about 2 weeks after I'm not kidding, about after we saw them. That's not funny, but it was true. Fantastic stuff. Anyway, welcome back. It's the final few minutes here. Gabe Morency not supposed to come on and hopefully join us very shortly here on the Pete Sheppard Show to give his picks. Sports Rage, outstanding. And he's busy out on the West Coast. I know he's going to get up early to do this, doing me a favor. So hopefully he will, because I get a lot of questions to ask him. And there is the man himself, the one and only Sports Rage, Gabe Morency, joining us, I believe, from Vancouver, British Columbia. I know you travel a lot, sometimes to Vegas or sometimes to parts unknown. But Gabe, good morning, Sports Rage. Welcome. How are you?
Hey, good to see you, Pete. Glad to see you guys are doing all right. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Yeah,
Your
we're doing
Dodgers
all right.
did a big one last night. And
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sure
doing
you
all
won
right.
big.
As a Dodger fan, I'm in a pretty good mood right now. Although, you know what, there's still more baseball left to be played. Things can turn in a hurry, as we all know. But a spectacular performance so far, and we will be traveling shortly because we're going to Game 1 of the World Series. The only question is Game 1 going to be on Tuesday or next Friday night? Right, because there's still a possibility if the series is end tomorrow, today and tomorrow type of deal, then the World Series will start Tuesday. If not, it starts next Friday, but we'll be at Dodger Stadium either way.
Angel will back me up on this, Gabe. I keep track of most of your picks, see what you're doing. Not everything, but I've been killing it with these totals. I mean, I've been going over every. I just see these totals at 7 and 8.5, and they don't sit well with me when I look at the pitching matchups and really get into studying who does what against whom. And despite even Ohtani's woes, when nobody's on base, which is crazy, when he's on base, he's hitting like 8,000, 850. But have you been surprised at the totals at how much they're going over? And when I tell you I'm like 12-1, I'm like 12-1 since the beginning of the playoffs, and I just keep riding the over when I see it.
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. They keep on posting these numbers in the same range. You're never, we haven't seen 9.5.
No.
Right. I mean, 8.5s are even kind of rare. You'll sort of you'll get an 8 sometimes. Look, the Dodgers are able to go over the number themselves. They've done this on a couple of last couple of games. 2 games ago, they went over themselves. Last night, it was 7. They did the 7 on their own. We see, I mean, they're an explosive team right now. I think, Pete, I've always warned people, especially earlier in the playoffs, and now we're sort of mid-playoffs, but earlier in the playoffs, same thing. You get these aces, and the totals are 6 and 6.5. Yeah. And inevitably, they always go over. I think part of it is, too, the teams don't let up, right? I know, nobody's ever letting up. Baseball is an individualistic, stat-driven sport to begin with, but it really is different. You see teams, whether they're up 3-0 or whether they're up 8-0, they kind of have the same approach at the plate, right? Is attack. In the modern era, put as many runs up as you do. And let's be real, with the pitches as quick as they are, it doesn't take a ton of contact.
Were you live betting last night at all in the Cleveland Yankee game, circa 8th inning, when the Yankees took the lead, when the back-to-back homers, and then got the insurance running up 5-3? Were you live betting at all? Do you think a lot of people live betting the Yankees, and then obviously we know what happened with Big Christmas coming up, and then Fry from Ferris Bueller hitting the game winner? But you wonder, did you know any people that were live betting and taking the Yankees when it was 5-3 in the 8th?
No. No one's going to do that. Taking teams when they're down, I mean, that's another thing you can do in the playoffs. And it's been pretty profitable. The Dodgers are a little bit different. The Dodgers are starting to bludgeon teams right now. But, when teams are down, you get 2.5 plus 3.5 runs. I was on Cleveland last night, so I wasn't chasing Cleveland in game. I was upset because I actually took the under. It's one series, the Yankees and for the most part have been playing to the under. And so I was just like, all right, hopefully we get the split. And I was like, son of a bitch. When the Yankees scored to make it 5-3, I was like, I can't believe that. It actually goes over. And then Cleveland comes back. We'll see. I mean, like I said, there's a fine line between winning and losing. And the Yankees are better than the Guardians. And I think the talent will win out in the end. But with that being stated, if the Guardians can win this today, suddenly there will be pressure on the Yankees. The Yankees as a whole, let's just be real. I mean, they've been lucky that they got the Guardians and the Royals to get to the World Series. but there's an assumption amongst their fan base in the city that they're going to make it. You know, I mean, no one's really concerned about it. Well, we're going to beat the Guardians. They always beat the Guardians. And then they're up 2-0. And it's like, well, we told you. So the pressure can, the collar can tighten pretty quickly if Cleveland wins today. And actually am leaning with the Guardians today as well.
But geez, I mean, if you talk about closers giving it up, what Avila only given up 2 home runs all year, and then back to back, just unbelievable stuff. To me, brings back old bad Red Sox memories when I hear stats like that. But that was amazing.
I think of Jose Mesa all the time when I see this Class A dude up there, right? Like, remember that at the time, man, Cleveland were super close. What was it, against the Marlins?
Yeah. Yes.
I think they were out away. I think they were literally an out away from winning.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always something with Cleveland, right? It's weird too. Some cities and some teams, they never win, and they don't get the same sympathy. You just talked about the Red Sox. It's hard to believe for people tuning in now that might be younger or something like that won't believe that the Red Sox weren't hateable before, and not everybody hated all the Boston teams, right? Like the Red Sox hadn't won in so long, people felt bad for them.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, they won, and then you guys won a couple of times and became big jerks in Boston. Hey, look at us, we're the best. Like you guys just went like 100 effing years without winning, and now look at you.
Oh, then they won 4 in 14 years, which was pretty good. And now the owner, I want him shipped out to the moon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like my point is, like, Cleveland haven't won since 1948. Pretty long time. People don't talk about it in the same way. Oh, the poor Cleveland fans. You sort of got it with the basketball team, with LeBron and stuff. But yeah, the Cleveland baseball franchise, these guys have been cursed for a long time, all right? For whatever reason. And there's a reason why they made the movie Major League. They picked that franchise.
It's funny because it was the year later, I think, where they won it. And I think Sports Illustrated came out with an article that year, the same time. Remember, it was like 6 different, or the American League East back when it was like 7 teams or 8 teams, and they picked the Indians. It's like, this is the Indians. Everybody laughed at it. Major League came out. I don't think it was that year, but it was the year after. That's when the Indians actually made the playoffs. It's kind of ironic. I remember it kind of being in sync with the SI article in the movie.
Thing I remember too, I remember Mesa gave up the big hit. I sort of have that flashback. And I also remember after 9/11, if you recall, a lot of people suddenly checked IDs. Before 9/11, nobody checked IDs before. Nobody really knew the ages of a lot of baseball players, right? I lost my birth certificate on the way over here. And it was funny because Mesa claimed to be I think he was claiming to be 32 at the time or something. And after 9/11 happened, they got serious. And they told all the baseball players, listen, you're going to get immunity from this. You're not going to be under arrest or anything, but you got to be honest now. Like, you've got to show real ID and your real birth certificate. Mesa had a 24-year-old daughter or something, bro, when he said he was 30 years old. I remember we were doing the math. I was like, well, unless he became, and he was 8, 9 years old. So there's my Mesa story. Gave up a massive home run, cost him a World Series, and was actually 15, 20 years older than he was claiming to be.
Well, it's like, what's his name? Danny, Little League kid from Brooklyn or from the Bronx. He was, 18
well, that's another
old.
story. Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Baseball players were doing this. Going back, Adrian Beltre, actually, he signed with the Dodgers when he was a kid, and then he admitted it, and he got out of the contract because he said, I shouldn't even sign a contract as a kid. And then he changed his age after. So we had a lot of that in the past. But with all that being stated, hey, listen, these baseball playoffs have been great. Best baseball playoffs in recent memory, actually. I mean, as far as I know the Dodgers and Mets have turned into kind of a one-sided series, but there's been a ton of drama and intensity throughout these playoffs. And seems like we're on a collision course for what a lot of people in baseball want. The Yankees and Dodgers haven't played since 81. And it's not, when you say that, it's not because, I'm not dying for a Lakers and Knicks NBA finals. It's not we want New York and LA. But from a historical perspective, it doesn't get much better than the Yankees versus Dodgers in baseball history.
No, I'm with you. I mean, the 81 time was a split series, and I was always a huge Dodger fan. They were always my second favorite team after the Red Sox. By the way, does it bother you that my boys Kiki Hernandez and Mookie Betts are doing all sorts of stuff? How about Kiki Hernandez in the playoffs? Holy crap. He is just a run-producing machine. It is amazing what that guy does in the postseason.
Yeah, he's got the clutch DNA. It's ironic. A lot of players are great regular season players, and they kind of fade in the playoffs. And then you get this guy who just lives for these moments. He lives for the moments. The thing with the Dodgers is too that makes them so scary right now is sort of the 1 through 9 aspect of it. They can move Kiki around.
Mm-hmm.
He can bat 8th. He can bat 5th. They can Tommy Edman, who I thought was just a great pickup, bro. I mean, this guy can play at any position. They had him batting cleanup last night. I mean, the guy was hitting 9th for the playoffs, right? Suddenly, all right, we're going to move you up to cleanup. Dave Roberts gets criticized a lot. And, there's a Red Sox guy. I mean, if not for him, the World Series doesn't happen. But I know the Dodgers are very team analytical, and there's team meetings and blah, blah with different, the baseball department. And it's not Dave Roberts sitting there smoking a cigar, like, all right, scratching things in and out. But at the same point in time, if you're going to blame him when things don't go well, you got to tip your cap, bro. Look at last night. Like you said, on nightly bet, no, Lux is out, no Freeman. We're going to move this guy here. We'll put Taylor here, move Edmund to 4th. Really brilliant stuff. And with the exception of a couple of innings, I mean, they've just knocked it out of the park with their pitching decisions as well.
All right, let's get into some college football. What a great slate tonight. Now, tell me, this is one of these, I've looked at it, I've dissected it, I've analyzed it. I do all my picks, and I start doing them on Thursday. I take a good 2.5 hours to go through every game because I want to be as accurate as possible. I've tried to want to compete with you, and I pick 5 college games, and then I pick every game against the spread in the NFL. But tell me, tell me how I get past. And I picked Florida State +3. 22-0 lifetime against Duke. And I like Manny Diaz, and Duke's been playing better. Tell me why or why not I should not go with Florida State tonight.
I get it. And you get these super dominant one-sided trends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a little bit skewed in this instance.
Okay.
Very similar to like Kentucky and Florida. I actually remember one of the worst bets I ever made was taking Kentucky plus the points against Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators. and it was the same thing, being like, I don't know, I think they had won 30 in a row type of deal.
Yeah.
30, 32. It was literally like, they haven't beat them in 35. I was like, after a couple of drinks, I was actually at a Mississippi State LSU game that day in Mississippi State.
Was they number one back? Were they number one back then with Dan Mullen coaching, maybe?
No, it was LSU. It was so long. It wasn't. I guess it was long ago, but like LSU, Odell Beckham was on the team.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like Odell Beckham's LSU team. They were really good. I think Mullen. I think it was before Mullen. It was long before Mullen got there. Mississippi State were average at the time when I was there.
Okay.
But I remember they covered. LSU won, but Mississippi State covered the game I was at. But my point is, though, I took Kentucky later that day, and they got absolutely murdered. And the thing is, it's a little bit different. Like, Duke had been a basketball school forever, right? And Florida State were so dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of throw out a lot of these Florida State trends right now. If I would have told you, you know what I mean, that, like you look at the teams that they're losing to and or that, are covering, you would have thought Florida State would be Cal by 30, et cetera. So do I love this game tonight? No.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a fun Friday night slate.
Yeah.
But, if this is like on a Saturday, this wouldn't be the game that jumps off the page at me the most. But with that being stated, they're just a non-play to me, Pete, FSU.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
it's either fade or pass. I don't have any confidence, especially for these guys going on the road right now. Right? They're just not they don't have any confidence. So you got a team with some confidence here with the Duke Blue Devils. So I lean Duke here. I think Duke will beat Florida State tonight. But it's not even my favorite play of the night.
Oh no, absolutely
I do
not.
like the Duke Blue Devils.
Oregon and Purdue is an interesting game. Now, we've seen Purdue in this spot before and upset teams, Ohio State, amongst others in the past. And I'm not going to say it's a trap game for Oregon coming off that emotional win last week. Obviously, I think they have Illinois next week. But I think Illinois is going to beat you Wolverines this weekend, but we'll get into that in a second. 28.5-point underdog. Purdue is at home tonight, over 4 touchdowns. I think this is a tough one. This is one. See, for me, I'm more apt to bet Florida State. I'll take a chance on small shekels. But this Oregon-Purdue game tonight, what do you think about this?
This one I like the over of. I am going to pull the trigger on the over 60.5 here.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being stated, this is one of those leap of faith picks, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Blind faith, etc. We're just going to play the number here in this football game. One thing, if you guys will notice with the Oregon Ducks, and I always tell people this over the years, I get into it with handicappers a lot, and I hear people talk about look ahead. Well, they're playing this team coming up here and that. And dude, players don't know who they're playing this week, let alone in a couple of weeks, right? Like, unless they're going to a school, that they left or their brother's on the other team or something like that, they don't know. I mean, NFL players have no clue until, a lot of them don't know till Wednesday, Pete, during practice.
Of course, yeah.
I saw Travis Kelce on a McAfee show, and I don't think he was making it up. And they said, oh, it was last year. They said, oh, you got the Chargers this week. And he goes, oh, do we? He said, oh, really? Yeah, we do, huh? And Pat was like, oh, you didn't know? He goes, no, I know. He goes, I know now, right? And I've seen Tyreek Hill say the same thing. He goes, no, I don't. He goes, what difference would it make if I know who we're playing? I'm going to be me anyway. So it's like, I actually have Perry Bowden on as a regular guest every Friday night now on my show.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked him, I get to ask him, he's cool, right? So it's no holds barred.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So I asked him, I said, Coach, I always get into it with people about look aheads and stuff. And I said, I know the coaches know, but I said the players don't. He goes, Gabe, you're exactly right in the Bowden accent there, voice.
Yeah.
He goes, these players don't know what's going on in 5 minutes, let alone what's going on in, 5 days. He's like, they live in it now. They're not worried about the schedule. So with all that being stated, the one thing, though, that is true, and I do buy into, is the letdown after a big win, right? And that's just real. And guys, we watch all the games, but there's always going to be certain teams you see a little bit more of. We've bet every Duck game. We've seen every snap, everything of the Ducks here. And look at their games, Pete, and look at the point spreads in their games.
Yeah.
The odds makers, they're like an NFL team, bro. The odds makers have them nailed. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They go into Oregon State. They go into to UCLA. They're laying 23.5. They win by 21. Michigan State, they're laying 22.5. They win by 21.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
They play to the point spread. Dan Lanning, he'll cover, but he's not obsessed with it. So it's not like Lanning. And another thing is too, tonight, guys, the Ducks have nothing to prove or no one to impress. Dude, and this new playoff, they control their own destiny. They could win 19-18 tonight, and they move. You know what I mean? They survive in advance. I'm not saying they're going to want to win by 1, but they're not going to be out there thinking, oh, man, people are going to look down on us because we only won by 24 and we didn't cover tonight by 30. Lanning doesn't care. And the Ducks do run the ball a lot, Pete, as well. Don't forget that. Chews up a lot of clock, and they're not I guess the best way of putting it, so we'll move on to other games here, is point spreads are the equalizer, aren't they, guys?
Yep.
Right? The Ducks are 6-0. Purdue are 1-5. Well, they're both 2-4 against the spread.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Oregon, as you said, is a great point about not having to win by a lot, because I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think Georgia's going to beat Texas. It's Kirby Smart. And
I do agree with that one.
And
or if they don't,
Tuscaloosa, and Kirby Smart wins big games on the road as long as it's not Alabama. And I'm not saying I love them, but you give me a 4.5-point head start lead against a Texas team. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gabe. They haven't played an offense above 71st ranked this year, I think, which is another reason why I like Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the Texas aren't the real deal or anything like that, because they're super dangerous.
Yes.
Sarkisian's done an awesome job rebuilding this thing, and they lost a ton of NFL talent. A lot of other teams have lost NFL talent and sort of use it as a crutch or as an excuse, and Texas lost a ton and just replaced them. But, obviously, if you have your quarterback back, it makes a big time difference. Listen, Texas's best win is at Michigan, and Michigan are offensively challenged, and they even were more so early in the season. I think Georgia are a little bit vulnerable in the big picture, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? for a couple of years, they seemed unbeatable, right? It was like, oh my God, like this is next level. They're like a boxer, that they're that champion boxer, Pete. Now they've lost a couple of times. People don't have the full fear of there's no way in hell we can beat these guys. It's not like Mike Tyson after he lost to Buster Douglas. Like once the bully dies, right, and gets beaten once and people see it, Brock Lesnar, same thing. I remember Cain Velasquez beat the crap out of Brock Lesnar in the UFC, and suddenly Brock, you know what I mean? It was like, oh my God, the aura is dead, right? So I'm not saying that Georgia are done in the big picture or anything, but with that being stated, I think this game comes down to the wire. There's an overreaction with the point spread here right now. I mean, we saw Georgia and Alabama come down to whoever has the ball last, Pete. This, to me, is going to be one of these football games. There's going to be a ton of points in this game. They're going to go up and down the field on each other.
Agreed.
And, like Georgia could win the game. Texas could win the game, but I wouldn't want to be laying 5 against anyone. One thing with Georgia that's done them in this year, guys, is their slow starts, right? I mean, they're offensively, they don't score in the first half. They literally have scored 4 or 5 touchdowns in the first half all year. It's been a problem for them. So they're going to have to get off to a quick start, but I'm not going to play into they're never underdogs, and that's why you got to take them. I'm just going to play into the fact that, kind of like what you said, the college football playoff standings are going to kind of even themselves out with people playing tougher schedules. So I think most teams are going to end up with a loss here and there just for chaos purposes, and I think it could start here. But I will be on Georgia plus the 4.5, and we will be on the over in the football game.
Now, everybody's going to bet the key games, and a team like a game like Bowling Green, Kent State, you actually might even be able to make more money. But people stay away from that stuff because they don't know enough about it. Last game before we get to the NFL a little bit, Gabe Morency, Sports Rages, Alabama, Tennessee. I think at Neyland Stadium they are 17-1 or the last 18 or 16-1. I get it. I like Tennessee in this game. They're my underdog of the week. When I pick an underdog of the week, they have to win the game outright. Otherwise, it goes against my record. Tennessee +3. Again, despite Tennessee's great defense they played this year, I think this is another game, if you agree or not, that's going to be a lot of points. I like over 56.5, and I like the Vols. What say you, Sports Rage?
Well, I can't disagree as far as the over, and I never met an over that I'm like Charlie Sheen in a lineup blow. I never met an over that I didn't want to snort. You know what I mean? So, but with all that being stated, I think this is a spot for Alabama here. Mm-hmm. I was drinking the volunteer Kool-Aid earlier in the year, like, wow, look how good they are on both sides of the football, not just on offense, but they're playing smash mouth defense as well. And you can argue, all right, defensively they've been all right over the last couple of weeks, but the offense is going in the wrong direction here, Pete, right now with the Tennessee Volunteers. Mm-hmm. And this is a big-time game. We were just talking about you got Georgia and you got Texas. Georgia have been like in a live, real gauntlet against Alabama this year. Like I said, Texas, all right, you got Oklahoma. You went to Michigan. Michigan only really wanted to run the ball. You haven't really had people like really throw haymakers at you like Georgia are with like, oh, my God, they just scored a quick touchdown in 17 seconds. And we got to bounce back quickly. To me, the Georgia-Alabama game is going to help Alabama here. I think Alabama, they're imperfect, Pete. And I think Alabama fans, like, every game is going to be pretty stressful for them because their defense isn't great. You can move the ball on them so you can hang around. But Alabama don't need to cover the spread in this game, right? We're not they're going to be flat. They didn't win by 18. They basically need to win the football game. And to me, Tennessee haven't really showed that much, Pete, when they step up in class. I mean, we saw you guys, I don't need to tell you guys in Florida, the Gators are a bad football team, right? And the Florida Gators nearly knocked
Should have went for 2 against Tennessee. Should have went for 2.
Yeah, exactly. So they could have, should have, would have knocked them off. They didn't. You're right. Napier had an opportunity to shut people up, right? I was watching. I was like, man, Napier's finally going to be able to flex here in a press conference. And, and a lot of boosters will be happy they win this game. Didn't happen for them here. I was on Arkansas in that Hog game. And I actually like Arkansas this week again. I've been riding the Hogs this year, but I actually think Alabama's just going to be too much. I think Alabama's experience, just even like going back to the Rose Bowl last year, Pete, you know what I mean? They have a lot of players that have played a lot of big games, bro. Tennessee kind of wilt under the pressure a little bit, under the spotlight, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on to the NFL. I've been trying to talk Nick Sirianni's an ass clown. There's no question about it. But This week, Eagles, Giants. I love the Eagles -3. I think they're going to do everything possible. Hopefully, Jalen Hurts, not forcibly, but like it was early in this, the team is one Saquon Barkley drop away from being, 4-1. I think Saquon Barkley scores a couple of touchdowns, maybe more, running and catching the ball. I really like the Eagles this week. They will win in spite of their ass clown of a coach at -3. How do you feel about this one on Sunday?
Listen, man, if you just bet against the New York Jets and the New York Giants at home for the last 20 years, all right, you'd be living in a nicer house than Tony Soprano was in Jersey. Let me tell you, they're bad. The Giants are a terrible home team. They are and people fall for it all the time. Once in a while, I'll fall for it, not often, but once in a while, I'll fall for it as well. You want to take the Giants on the road when you're getting 6 points, when you're getting 7 points. You don't want to take the Giants when it's another instance here, Pete. I agree with you. And when you get to a 3 kind of here, we can put it in this terms. The Eagles just sort of need to win the football game. And God is as big for Saquon Barkley as you talked about. Yeah. And Sirianni, I mean, listen, Sirianni is bringing it upon himself. He's just sort of digging these holes all the time. But quickly to his defense, he wasn't getting into it with the fans last week. It was misinterpreted. I don't know, for people tuning in unaware of it, the fan that got into it with him actually went online, and he showed his seat stub and the whole view of a picture and the whole 9 yards. And the deal was, earlier in the game, I guess the fan got up and he said, "Hey, Sirianni, run the effing ball more," a couple of times. And it was kind of quiet and everybody heard it. And it was one of those deals where even the players kind of turned around because the guy was so loud. And he said, Sirianni heard it, and a couple of the coaches heard us and looked at us. And he said, Sirianni sort of looked at me and nodded like with an approval, like we will, and did like a just chill out, bro, just chill out type of thing. Sirianni after went over to tell him, I told you we'd run the ball. I told you we'd run the ball. So it looked like he was like, you know what I mean? So the fan.
At that time, they were yelling, fire Sirianni. And
yes. So exactly. And he's like this, waving his hands. But he was good-naturedly going to being cool to the fan. Going, hey, I told you we'd run the ball. Chill out. I told you to calm down. Everybody sees. The fan actually said, I feel horrible because the way that it looked in the stadium and stuff. And he goes, the ironic part was Sirianni was trying to be cool to me. And he goes, he was actually talking to me, and he came over, and he was trying to be cool to our section, and it kind of blew up on him. But with all that being stated, I mean, he should have raised kids after. I mean, I'm not going to defend him fully here, but
hate that. Yeah,
I do.
That.
No, I don't. I don't even like when you win and do that, Pete.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, the NBA started that crap. I think it was Curry and stuff.
Yeah, it did.
It's like, hey, I won. My kids are at the podium. People have a job to do here, bro.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the reporters, they're trying to get quotes. Everyone's got it's a business. Like, you wouldn't like it if the reporters brought I know it's not equal, you know what I mean? I get it. You're covering them. But we don't bring kids, Pete.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? I don't bring your dog to the press conference and, oh, isn't this cute? And, you know what I mean? No. But, hey, what a world. I guess if you got a big rack now, you can do whatever you want at a press conference, too. So,
that's been going on for a while.
Yeah, you'll get a deal at a sports book. What the hell do I know, right? So, but before we get out of here, I will tell you, I do like the Eagles in a lot in this game.
Yep.
I'm taking the Eagles in a super contest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other 3 spots here. I'm going to pick on the Miami Dolphins. We're talking about Florida State sucking. Dude, the Miami Dolphins scored 12 points a game, guys.
I hate them. I hate their coach.
12 points. He's another coach. Like, Sirianni's better than McDaniel is. Like, Sirianni at least will sort of own it and go back and forth with the media and get into it.
I don't understand what Mike McDaniel says. I don't understand what he's talking about. Every time he speaks, I play Tone Look Wild thing because I'm like, that's what I play. Every time he speaks on the show.
And he thinks, well, that's his nature, though, of thinking that he's the smartest guy in the room, right? So he can't just give a straight answer. He's got to, go all the way around the mountain.
Did you hear him talking about Anthony Richardson the other day? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He rambled on for 1 minute and 47 seconds. And I don't understand anything that came out of his mouth.
He's the type of guy, too, the modern coach, that players aren't going to dislike him, right? But are they going to run through a wall for him? Like, if things aren't going well. Things aren't going well on the field. He's not paying attention. He's got his face buried in his chart. I know this from talking to players. I remember, asking. I asked Kyle Turley about Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan was going to the Bills, And I said, man, this kind of seems like you would like Rex Ryan and play for Rex Ryan. And he goes, the first part's true. He goes, I love Rex Ryan. He goes, I've had drinks with Rex Ryan before, and he's a super nice guy. And he goes, I'm going to be honest here. He goes, Rex's problem is he's too much of a nice guy and he's too much of a fan.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes, in the room, he goes, honestly, you kind of need someone that's a hard ass in the NFL. Like someone that, like, a great example, like the Bills were last in penalties in the NFL when Rex was the coach. Why? Because Rex was yelling at the ref all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Rex wasn't going to get mad at you.
Yeah.
Like if you did something stupid with the ref, he'd be like, oh, the refs hate us. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he'd take your side as opposed to, McDermott's not perfect, but if you F around, you get the look from McDermott and you get the hook. All right. So if you're I think sometimes coaches can be too player friendly. And I get that feeling with McDaniel. He calls the plays, and then he kind of reminds me of Adam Gase, to be honest. But so I like the Colts in this game. Right? Listen, the Colts, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They're going to put points up on the board. They're a very good home team. We know Miami are terrible on the road. Miami's offense just won't be able to keep up with the Colts in this spot. No one's gotten rich betting against Patrick Mahomes over the last couple of years, and he said we should never be an underdog. This is one of those winner go home, loser go home matches. Like if you're the 49ers, you've lost to them twice in a Super Bowl. They own your ass. If you're Shanahan, and also the Niners just sort of need they need like a college football team, Pete. They need a signature win. You know what I mean? They need to feel good about themselves and say, all right, we're back on track here now. I think they get it done in this spot. And I'm thinking outside the box on the Monday Nighters. I do live in-game shows during every primetime game, so we're going to be on during the doubleheaders here. And I know that Lamar's 22-1 against the NFC, but I'm getting 3.5 with a Buccaneer team that, dude, this is going to be, you want to talk about an over. This is going to be a fun football game.
I agree. And you got the, right now, with all the respect to Josh Allen, just close, but I mean, you got to make a strong case for Baker Mayfield. He's ahead of the league in 4 or 5 of the major stats. It's amazing. If you had to vote for the NFL MVP today, it would have to be him.
Yeah, they won't do it, but it's a good point. And that's what we love about it, right? I mean, we've been betting on Tampa religiously. Yep. They did cost me against Denver. I had them in I had them in a moneyline parlay or whatever, but I mean, they've just been a covering machine, and now we're getting points here. And like I said, this is going to be a fun, sort of close, 30-27, 30, I think it'll be a classic, actually. I think we could be in store, like you said, Mayfield versus Lamar Jackson, great stuff. And in closing, actually, for the record, I do think the Bills are going to smash the Titans. There's sort of ebbs and flows to this stuff. Normally, I would tell people, no. The Bills are like the Ducks, actually. Yeah. They play to the point spread. You know what I mean? They lay 6.5 to Arizona. They win by 6. You know what I mean? But we saw what they did to Jacksonville. You got Amari Cooper rolling in here. You just sort of get the feeling the Bills have that, even though they're coming off a win, that they have that, we're in a bad mood and we're going to F someone up because we didn't like the way you talked about us for the last couple of weeks. Right? Like one of those type of deals. Plus, Will Levis sucks. The Titans, they'd be better with Mason Rudolph. But I was going to say, I've read that, we all have teams, guys, that we don't like betting on. They're going to screw you, or that you do like betting on because you sort of read them. And I've had a really good read on this Cardinal team, Pete, for a couple of years, where like last week I was on the Green Bay Packers, right? I've sort of picked my spots. I was on the Cardinals versus the Rams. I was on the Cardinals versus the 49ers. So I've sort of like picked my spots, and this is a nice spot here. You were talking about Texas saying like the Longhorns going to be the first time they're playing a real offense. Kind of the same thing with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Chargers and the games that they played this year, Harbaugh, I mean, guys, they're only scoring 18 points a game, right? They're playing Big Ten football. Okay, you played the Broncos, you played the Raiders, you played the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at the games, the teams that they played, the Chargers haven't played anybody that is like, you know what, these guys are going to score. And we're going to have to see the old Herbert sort of, play pitch and catch a little bit here. I have a feeling the Cardinals show up and we get the good Arizona team. It's like the Jekyll and Hyde Cardinals. I think good Arizona shows up on Monday night. So give me both underdogs Monday Night Football.
Gave you the man. Before we let you go, Joey is saying, parlez-vous français, les habitants. Could you speak in French about at all about the Montreal Canadiens and any old story quickly about what you had at the Forum?
Yeah, les Bleu, Blanc, et Rouge, the Canadiens de Montréal. Hey, listen, man. Canadiens are a fun hockey team. keep your eye on Slavkovsky. It was for number 1 draft pick from a couple of years ago, but Canadians could put the puck in the net. And one thing with the Canadians, guys, they're not priced like a good team. Like, we'll talk about hockey betting sometime in the future, but odds makers generally don't care about it. Like the books that take a lot of Canadian action do, but they really don't care because it's minimal. So they have power rankings before the year starts, whatever service they hired or whatever program they use. They don't really adjust a lot, Pete.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if they think a team is going to suck, even if they don't suck, like, the Calgary Flames are a good example. Like in football, in basketball, whatever, the odds makers will adjust quickly. The lines makers will adjust. Oh man, these guys are going over. It's now 232. It's not 222 anymore. Hockey, they don't adjust. They're like, yeah, whatever, bet it if you want. It's only 2% of our handle. We don't care. Have fun winning. Yeah. So, like hockey, you know what? You can bet, and we'll get into it about the power rankings and why underdogs can often be a live dog in the NHL.
Gabe, thanks so much, man. You are the man. Anything you want to plug? What you got coming up? You're all over the place, and enjoy watching your show late night. Thank God YouTube TV has it. I get to watch it a lot. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Pete. We're going to be on at 10 Eastern tonight. We got Coach Terry Bowden on every Friday night, the Bowden Blitz, we call it. And we go where it's pretty cool because he doesn't mind. We talk point spreads, who's going to cover, but we get the coach's perspective. Friday night's always great. We got a ton of handicappers and live action. Next week, though, it'll be lit. Follow me on Twitter X at Sports Rage. I'll be in Seattle for the Buffalo Bills Seattle Seahawks game next Sunday. And we're going to be at Game 1 of the World Series in Los Angeles. So that's either Tuesday or Friday. So we got a big week coming up and a ton of great coverage. I'll be posting videos all week from location.
Awesome, Gabe. You're the best. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And as you say, may the winners be yours.
Hey, let's get it, Pete. Let's do this thing.
All righty.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right, Angel, I know we are way, way over today, but that's okay. I mean, anything for Gabe. He's fantastic. So your show is coming up next whenever you decide you need a break and take a few minutes to reset here, Angel, right? Martinez and Company coming up. What you got coming up today? And then all the shows are back up today on Friday.
Yep. No, it's always good time. It's always great time, bonus time with Gabe, because you're gonna get the most natural, raw, real reaction. I don't care what sporting event. He could go on for like the next 4 hours and I would be just fine with it. So he's always a good listen. But a couple of the stories. One, apparently, one is obviously the Ravens have put out an arrest warrant for the fan who decided to go around and punch the guy. We showed the video earlier on this week. So they're looking for an arrest warrant to arrest that current fan. Another one is apparently not from the Ravens, apparently from a skiing team that's want to be arrested as well for some drug trafficking ring. So I'll talk about that and some other stuff. As long as I'm pretty sure the guys will be calling the party line as we do on Fridays.
Nice.
So we can get our picks in for the week. And
fantastic.
then also later on, of course, we'll have the Drive with Q at 4 to 6, and it might be a little bonus time this afternoon, only because it was a condensed week, so I'll give them a little bit extra time for this evening.
Awesome. Joey B says, Synchronicity 2 playing Wow, great poll. I haven't heard this in decades. You should hear it more. This should have got way more play than the radio did. It's one of the great police songs of all time. Hey, Angel, thanks so much. Thanks to our guest, Greg Murphy, comedian, and obviously Sports Rage. Thanks to you, Angel. Great job during the week. I am Pete. We'll be back Monday morning at 7 a.m. to recap what an exciting weekend for college football and NFL football. We'll break it all down for you on Monday at 7 a.m. Have a great and safe weekend, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow or on Monday at 7 a.m. See ya!